it's a whole different way of being.
Yep, that one's coming.
You know,
Okay,
you
go
can
ahead.
love them to death in this.
All right.
Get cranky.
The time being 6:30,
We'll have to talk.
call to order the Tilton Planning Board meeting of Tuesday, December 10th, 2013. First on the agenda is Planning Board Case 13-12, amended site plan to change the use from manufacturing to a body shop. Property is located at 40 Tilton Road, Tilton, New Hampshire, in the Regional Commercial District. Tax map R23, lot 19. And, hold on.
Whatever you want, Bob, it's fine. Whatever you want, it's fine. Do what you want. It's all about you.
No, I just,
Having reviewed the
I had these in my pocket.
file folder here,
I had,
it appears to be substantially complete.
I'll make a motion to accept the application as it appears to be substantially complete.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. So who do we have from Forest Street Realty?
That'd be, I'm from AutoServe.
Okay.
Tom's Cabinet. And this is the body shop manager, Bob Wallace, works for AutoServe.
You did get a letter saying that Roland wasn't gonna be here.
Yeah.
so- Oh, right, for the, that's okay. No, just wanna make sure there's a letter right there that's saying that he couldn't make it.
Do we have anything that shows that they're able to represent AutoServe as an LLC? We have permission for them.
Let me just see that. No, this,
This,
yeah.
No,
everybody else, we make have a letter that their agent says that they can represent.
I know what you're talking about, I've had to do that before. Here,
I didn't even think
I know
of
what you're
that.
talking about.
Right, but we haven't, it's not in the packet, that's why I'm asking. There's nothing that says that you're able to represent AutoServe.
Or Forest, no, able to represent Forest Realty, that's the one. But they
We don't
are.
have
I never
anything
even
here
gave that
at
a thought because that's who they are.
Right, just because we've been dealing with you guys for so long, we assume it, but we need it in the file.
We can get it in the file after this anyway.
Is it here?
No, it's not.
No,
in
she
It is
didn't.
not.
Okay.
That's
So we will need
let
to
them
get
know
that.
Okay.
No problem.
Thank you.
I can get one here. 'Cause I'm sure.
Yeah. Just to keep all of our paperwork. Yeah. Thank you.
Eric, I gave a business card there in case you need any kind of like spellings or whatever.
Sure. Do you need it?
I will. You can just
Okay.
keep it in the
I'll put it
folder.
in the folder.
Okay.
And I'll get that letter for you, but I've had to do that before, so I'll make sure that comes to you guys.
Appreciate
you.
that. So tell us about your,
Well, we're just, we're taking a body shop that's at the western side of the town, and we're gonna put it up here on Route 140. It's state-of-the-art equipment's going in there. We're a low VOC user, which means we don't, can't, outside the building, you can't smell the stuff that's going on because of the equipment that we've got. It actually, it burns it all and makes it into solids when any of the stuff that is used. Bob's here in case there's any kind of technical questions of what he does. That's it. We're going to be a bigger facility. We've grown substantially to where the building that we've got down there is just not big enough. And we have gotten 12 directs with insurance companies, which means when you call the insurance company, they kind of direct you to this place. Technically, they can never tell you where you have to go, but they kind of direct you and they say go here. And there's 12 of them, We just got our 13th, which was all state, and we really need to do something different with our facility to get the real big ones, which is Geico and Progressive. But we would expect to be busier than what we've been, and we would expect to employ more staff than we've had, and we're taking equipment that's probably 20x years old, and we're replacing it with 2014 models, brand new. Everything's going in there, state of the art. Makes it nice.
Will there be, you're saying it's an auto body shop, so I'm assuming that you work on wrecked cars or damaged cars. Is there going to be extra waste fuels and oils and things like that that will have to be stored?
No,
All that stuff, we use Clean Harbors, like Tom was saying. We recycle all our waste paint,
Right.
okay? And when that's done, it comes up as a hard puck, a solid puck. That gets put into a drum. When that's full, it's all marked, the date and all that stuff, so
Right.
and we call Clean Harbors, who we use. They come pick it up, and then they take it wherever they take it, and, it's gone, it's off the property. So just so you know, there's not like there's a lot of waste or anything like that. It's not, really not like that anymore in the body industry. If you do it right.
it's all low VOC stuff that we have to do, and any of the wrecked vehicles that has, if there's like antifreeze leaking out of it or oil leaking out of it, more times than not, the messy stuff happens at the yard that they go to. So for instance, if you got in an accident today, Rusty's takes your vehicle and brings it to his yard. When we get it, it gets brought from there into our garage, and the work is done in the garage. There's certainly times that we have, some leakage, but typically it's very light, and you throw your kitty litter down or whatever you normally do, and you clean it up and you dispose of it the way we're supposed to dispose of it.
So we don't understand that most of that stuff is taken care of
Most of it
at
is.
Rusty's or at that point,
Wherever.
at that level of handling.
On the side of the road, typically, it's right there on the road. When you get into an accident and somebody's radiator gets pierced, you'll see that there's a big puddle of stuff and they clean it up right there. There isn't a whole lot of leakage. There's more mess in the work that we do when we work on a car's engine than there is when you work on a body job. Because typically, anything that has broken and either leaked on the road or while it's being towed to the yard or in the yard while it's in there. It's not something where, if you go to the parking lot where we're at right now, you don't see, spots of oil and stuff on the ground. It's just, there's very, very little of that.
Yeah.
Very, very little of that. Most of it's on the side of the road, and when the tow truck drivers come, you'll see them spread their stuff, and they clean it all up, and they dispose of that stuff, typically.
Okay.
We have air conditioning machines. That's a big problem that people don't look into as much as they should, because there's a lot of times when you do work on a auto body claim that you need to discharge the Freon that's in there. And so you have to have the right equipment to discharge the Freon, and we recycle it. It goes into it's a new machine that you recycle the stuff, and you pull it out, and then it actually goes right back into that same vehicle again when you're done with it. That's something that a lot of your not so technically advanced body shops don't necessarily do. They open it up and just kind of let it breathe in the air. You're really not supposed to do that. You're supposed to do it the right way. So, one of the things that we're proud of, this past a year ago, I guess, we were approved through AAA, and the AAA body shop program is one that's very difficult. Everybody needs to go to training, and it's national training. What's the name of the training you got to go to?
ASE or ICAR?
ICAR.
ASE usually.
And a lot of it has to do with making sure everything's done the right way.
Right.
And you can't get an approval. These guys they're in our business for many, many days looking at everything we do, and
Yeah.
we did a really fine job to be able to get that.
Have you talked to DES about the waterfront? Environmental Services about the waterfront and the proximity of the waterfront to them?
To
Need
the
any
building?
permits?
No, we're actually going to be less invasive than what was there. I mean, significantly less. I'd say that if there was a repair shop like we have up the street, that would be something that could be considered more invasive than what was there. But what was there were far less than that. So, and especially with the equipment we're putting in. The equipment we're putting in is just state-of-the-art stuff. The stuff we have right now qualifies, and we're fine, but we're going with all brand new stuff. It's nice.
When you were talking a little earlier, it sounded like you said something about outgrowing this place. You're just too big for the facility?
Where we currently are.
So that means you're planning to add on to this?
No, this is significantly larger than the building we're using right now.
Oh.
This is almost twice the size
All right.
of the space that we're using right now, so.
All right, so this is
Taj
more-
Mahal for us.
This is,
Yeah,
this is what we were expanding into.
yes, that's correct,
Okay.
yes.
I will see, do you guys have DOT permit? Have you guys gone for a DOT? They need to
Driveway.
driveway.
And updated.
And they did get,
You did
update your driveway
update
permit
your
for the
driveway
new
permit.
use.
Roland kind of threw this on us at the
That's
last
okay,
minute. You
we
guys both-
understand.
I will tell you that my guess is that he's done everything he's supposed to do, because typically he's pretty good at that. Hold on.
Yeah, I didn't mention the DOT because it was a business there, it was a manufacturing business, and so it's not gonna be any more than what's there.
Oh, they
now.
still
But they
wanna
still
know
need
what
to
it
update
is.
Yeah, well,
the
yeah.
Well, we're
Some
not
of them
changing the
do,
entrance.
some
No, I know you're not, but DOT wants to know, even if it's a new business.
Okay, all
It's
right.
happening.
really, all you're doing is filling out
I got
an
a form,
application
Tom, I
which
can give
just
you.
updates them.
Okay. I just want to read his notes to see
Yeah.
if there's something up here.
Yeah. She'll give you an update,
It's one of those
an
housekeeping
application.
issues.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a DOT,
Updated curb cut.
okay,
Curb cut.
And we're not changing anything, except it's going to be a new business at that location.
my guess is he knows about this stuff.
Yeah.
Just in case,
Yep.
giving it to me,
Yep.
so we're all on the same page.
And all I do, when I do that, I just turn copy into Gus.
Actually,
Oh, send
DOT will send a new
Yeah.
one, once it's
They'll
done.
let her know.
Just send it to DOT, and they'll say that you get a copy and the town gets a copy.
And you can fax it to them too.
Have you contacted the water commission, sewer commission?
It's all done. Yes, and we're hooked up.
You spoke to sewer?
All set, yep, and we're actually putting in a oil and grit separator into the sewer. Everything's all good.
Awesome. Applied to Franklin? You applied
He-
to Franklin?
Roland talked to
They have the
Johanna
application.
yesterday, so I don't know, I didn't get an update.
She'll make
from-
sure that
Yeah,
they get
Yeah.
hold of
Yeah, I
everybody.
talked to her today, they have the application, and, just waiting on approval.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you.
I'll look up our stuff.
It really should be rather nice. You know, it's a building that really hasn't been doing a whole lot lately, and we're definitely going to
Right.
make that good. We're going to improve it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't, the only thing that I see, and I'm trying to think of how we can work with it, is this particular property is in what we call our groundwater protection. And part of the groundwater protection ordinance that we have is that the Conservation Commission has to sign off on it as well. They look at your application and they will come back if they have any suggestions or, you know, I'm not gonna try and put words in their mouth. I mean, from what you've told us, I mean, you're going with the state-of-the-art stuff and you're using low VOCs, but it's still something that is required by our own ordinance. So, they're going to have to see this, and I know they're meeting this coming week, so they, and
Next
Gus
Monday.
has put in a copy of the whole application in their file for their use.
Should we go ahead and be at that meeting then? Have a representative there at their meeting?
You can, that is your prerogative, if you, it's usually, I would say, a good thing.
Okay.
That way, if someone has questions,
We'll have
you'll
Roland there.
have someone there that can address these questions.
What day
I
is
think
it?
especially because of the nature of the business.
It's
there will be
Monday
questions.
Next Monday
at 7 here.
at 7 o'clock, and it's right here.
And I will let Eliza know that you're coming in.
No problem.
Okay.
And if they want them at any other time, are you gonna get a hold of Roland and let him know?
Yeah.
If they, don't say, well, we
Mhm.
can't see him until 7:30, no sense hanging around all the time.
I love the opportunity to be told that. This is sometimes a crapshoot when you come in here, so it's wonderful.
Right,
I don't see any storm drains are existing on this paved lot here. And I don't know, I get, probably more of a conservation issue, but how much would you say leaks out of the vehicles that do come and sit on your lot? I mean,
As I said, far less
Minimal.
than, yeah.
I'm just thinking of, it's gonna go directly into the ground or run off the driveway versus a catch basin with a oil water separator type thing.
do you know if there's any drainage on this? I noticed you have a lot of asphalt. Is there
No,
any drainage at all?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Do you have all of the permits for the demolition of the house and such?
Oh, that's all done. Yeah, and they're house is gone.
I know, but I wanted to make sure. the
Yeah,
permits
all
were
of
in
them were
place.
here with the application.
Usually people apply to us before they demo stuff, that's why I was verifying that it was.
Well, that
In
part, that
place.
section is not going to be done. They're not doing that part until spring.
Where are you gonna put the cars in and out of here?
You want me to show you?
Yeah, I just don't see it in here. I see a loading dock.
Yep, that's right where it's going in. So this will be just filled to grade. So the dirt that's here right now is gonna be filled to grade, so when you pull in, instead of kind of going down to the loading dock, you'll pull right into here, or here, there's two doors, there's a door here and a door there. So primarily, the vehicles will come in here and have most of the body work done.
Yep.
And then you just push them right through into the two spray booths will be in here. So by the time they leave here, they're done. Everything's all indoors, and the vehicle doesn't have to go back out and back in, as it does at our current location. Everything's going to stay indoors.
That can affect the drainage of all of that area, filling that in.
There are no drains in the ground over here. So the whole property right now is going, instead of it, right now it dips down in there.
Yeah.
Instead of it dipping down, it's going to remain flat. So this same level that's here will be here. And this same level is the same level that's actually, this is even higher. It's all the same level that's in here right now, with the exception of where this dips down for a little dock. So that will be made level to the rest of the building. So this height that's from here all the way over to here
Yep.
will just continue. It's big.
Thank you.
You said Safe Harbors
Seeing
is
that.
responsible for your toxic waste, the hauling off your
Everything.
take.
Everything. We have machines that it goes into, and as you said, it kind of, I guess, burns it down to a puck, I guess you'd say. So any of the stuff that is no good, it takes forever for us to build a puck because we're all low VOC. We used to go through a lot of the stuff, everybody did. But now, when you get the right stuff, it takes forever to
Oh,
build
you
a
say
puck.
stuff, like what, are you?
It's the VOC
Waste
stuff.
paint.
Oh, just the paint, oh, just the paint.
Right, so we're painting all that stuff.
Mhm. You get done painting a car and you've got to clean your sprayer out.
Yep.
But when you clean your sprayer out, you clean it out with the, into this machine.
Yeah, it's all hooked up to the gun washer. We just spray it, you clean your spray guns in the thinner recycler, or the paint recycler. It's all hooked together. It's all one unit, so you just put everything in there, and the recycler actually heats it to a point where it turns it into a solid. Then we take those solids and put them into a 35 gallon drum. And then when it's full, you call Clean Harbors to come pick it up, bring a new drum, and
Mm-hmm.
they
dispose of
give you a
it.
manifest and everything. You gotta send it over to concrete,
Right.
and they record everything, so everything's all, they know exactly what you use at all times.
Mhm.
We've had all our stuff tested, and everything comes in below what they allow, all the products we use, so it's not like there's anything that's, all the metals and all that stuff.
How many parking spaces do you anticipate, and how much, like, vehicles in waiting?
As many as possible to get the work
But as
done.
you know, we have parking regulations as to
Um,
if you have this for a business, we need this much parking, so it doesn't delineate parking on here.
I don't know how many spaces specifically to give you a number, but I know the whole front is just parking. The whole front is, you know, gonna be graded for us to, so it could handle probably 50 vehicles if we needed it to. I don't know how, in the beginning, we're not gonna pave it until next year.
Right.
So we're just gonna have stone up there, and then once we actually line everything out, we would like to have the parking be an area where we can see our staff coming in and out, so they don't park around the back and walk in and out of the back door. And so we'll have that parking up in the front, as well as customer parking. The building's big enough where 90% of the work that we get, if not more than 90%, is gonna be indoors. When you get the job, and you got a building this size, it's just the next job for your employee. There shouldn't be, we have wrecked vehicles you can see down the street from time to time because we just don't have enough room to get them inside. We get paid more money from the insurance company for indoor storage. So if it's outdoors, we may get paid $20 a day. If it's indoors, we may get paid $45 a day. So it's in our best interest to have it indoors. So when these vehicles come, we have the wrecker back right up to the garage door, gets dropped off, we got special wheels that they use to be able to put them to a spot, and therefore we're making more immediately. And it keeps any kind of mess is easy to contain. It's not like the vehicles are outside all wrecked.
Because our concern is you do have residential neighbors next door, so we obviously want to be cognizant of that fact.
Yep, yep. As I said, I'm very confident in the fact that we're less threatening to any kind of environmental or anything than what was already there. That was there for years and years and years. So,
What kind of hours are you talking?
Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Okay.
Saturdays by appointment, you can come and get an estimate done, but really no work is going to, normally work doesn't get done on Saturdays. But if you've got somebody that has to be there, you know, can't get an estimate on a weekday, they can make an appointment and he'll show up there on a weekend.
Again, the concern is you have a residential neighbor, so we want to make sure that you're not starting at 6 in the morning, this poor neighbor is being.
You're not gonna have any gas in there, right?
In the past, the building that was there had a huge, you know what they did.
Yeah,
They made
right.
the wood products. They had a huge machine on the back of there that sucked all of the sawdust out. They had this big, elaborate sawdust, you know, tracking thing. And that's something that will no longer be there. And I can only imagine the noise that thing made. That was mounted on the back of the building back there. So, you know, I think that we're going to be far less intrusive than what's there right now. And we're going to look a lot better, and we'll take good care of it, as we do all of our properties.
Well, I don't think that's an issue.
Nope. Nope.
Lighting of the parking lot.
I don't know if there's any planning for lighting right now outside of the lights that we're putting on the outside of the building. So typically the lighting that we have is more of a security lighting at the business we had down there. Once we moved the car dealership out of there, we didn't have the lights lit up in the parking lot any longer. It's just you know, the security lights. Many of them now we use the infrareds, where when you walk through them they come on, you know. And I'm sure that we'll have some that are on at this time, because until we close it actually gets dark. So we'll have some around the entrance and so on. But I don't foresee any parking lot lights at this time.
Snow storage, since it's that time of year.
The property's pretty huge. So I'd say off to the southern side of the property is probably where it would be stored. Again, the whole front, that's where the house was built up on and all that stuff, that's all going to be level to grade. So there's literally a ton of room there that we've never had before. So I don't believe that to be too big of an issue. The gentleman that's right next door has been kind of, he's a guy that's been in the town for many, many moons, and I'm not sure what his name is, but he's been by on a regular basis, keeping an eye on us, and just been really a terrific guy. I don't remember his name, but he's very,
To the
very nice
right?
man. As you're looking at the building on the right-hand side.
Mr. Tilton.
Been there forever. Been there forever. And very, very nice man. And been kind of watching everything. We've gone and talked to him, told him everything we're doing, and so he's been very, very nice. So I think everything's good. I think he's pleased to see something happening as opposed to,
Right.
what's been there. So.
Do we have any comment from the public?
Just gonna have to check that out. Anyone else have any comment on the board? Guess we'll open up for public comment.
That would be us, I would assume.
And let's see a couple.
My name is
Yeah.
Sherry Royal, and this is William Carlson, my father. We live to the left of that property, behind the
Okay,
property.
yes.
So a large concern of ours, obviously, is water. We are on a well, we don't have town water. So, I was a sprayer for 20-plus years, so I'm understanding the process. And I also understand the filtration that WWP had there prior to their shutting down. So, and I also worked there for
Did you?
quite some time, yes. The filter system on the back of that building was quite intrusive. So I am hopeful that we won't have to deal with any of that sort of noise or anything, or lighting on the back of the building that would impede our area and what we have going on. So, my big concern, and I'm gonna ask you this, and I know you have answered it, but it is a big concern of mine, is the seepage from wrecked cars. We all know wrecked cars do seep. It doesn't matter how much you think is coming out on the side of the road or at Rusty's, you're gonna have some. There's no ifs, ands about it. So, how are we gonna handle that, and what happens when our well is contaminated, if it happens? What's gonna happen? How are we gonna handle this?
Okay, are you asking?
Yeah, no, I'm seriously, I don't really know. I mean, we're on a well, and it's a concern. That's what I'm saying to you.
I understand that, and I think that we're, any kind of regulations or rules that are out there, we make sure that we're not, we don't skirt with breaking the law with any of this stuff. We make sure that we're at the bottom of the list when it comes to people looking for trouble. We don't find any, we do whatever it takes to make sure things are the right way. I can't tell you anything about your well. I don't know whatever.
Well,
the laws are.
I'm worried that it would seep into the ground and into our water,
Tom, you're looking at a well also, correct?
Excuse me?
You're looking at a well also?
No.
No, we hooked up to
Well, they hooked up
You
to
did-
water.
water.
There's a one well here, you're looking at what the,
Yeah, there was,
Yeah,
There was an
At one point I
artesian
heard that
there
the
There
for
was.
that facility, yeah.
Not going to town.
So I'm just gonna, that's just a concern of mine. I don't expect you to address that or to.
Well,
offer
I will
any
tell you
kind
that
of-
that's part of the reason
And
why.
I'm
they-
happy to hear that it's low VOC, obviously.
Big time.
Yeah.
And if you went in there, you'd see, as I said, the facility that we have right now and the equipment that we've got is approved by every one of the vendors, and NHADA, New Hampshire Auto Dealer Association, is who insures us, our workers' comp and things like that, and they pull surprise inspections all the time. And so when they walk in the door, you better make sure your ducks are in a
You
row.
have to be prepared.
And I can tell you that our ducks are always in a row, because we just make sure that we do it the right way for them. We do it the right way, there's nothing we're hiding. And we're going from a 20-something-year-old equipment that works fine, that's totally legit, and works fine, to brand-new 2014 machines that won't be working nearly as hard because we're putting two of them in there as opposed to just one downdraft spray booth, we're putting two of them in. As far as any kind of seepage or anything, that's why we've got the water separator. We're putting in a water and silt separator we're going to have a wash bay, one wash bay. And typically when the vehicles come in, you wash them down, and you get over there and you start working on them. One really nice thing is they've got this system in there to suck out the, it was for sawdust. And they've got 4 of these things that actually, it pulls the air from down low. As you're sanding or something, the sanding stuff starts to fall down, and it pulls it right in, and it pulls it through a filter, and it goes back up through this top, like a balloon thing that goes across. There's 4 of them. And it keeps the air amazingly clean. The sawdust that was in that place when we
Yeah,
got
it
in
was
there,
built up pretty bad.
God.
It was bad.
We do the very best that we can to make sure that we're not just good neighbors, but great neighbors. Great and gracious. We understand what's going on. It's obviously it's zoned. It's okay for us to do this. It's we're going from the west side to the east side, and we make sure that we do everything the right way. And I can promise you that hasn't changed. The folks that are there right now started at the dealership down here, and they are where they are right now because we do it the right way. And you know, we like to think that if there ever is an issue that comes up, that people know that they can approach us. We're approachable, and whatever needs to be done, we take care of it.
Do you know approximately how much staff you'd have there?
We're planning on adding, and right now we've got, we probably have about 7 right now, and we'll probably go up to 10 people there, I'd say. And our hopes are that if at some point we can get a contract with companies like Geico, they'll have their own employee that comes on site. So you make the appointment with Geico, you show up, and your guy's right there, he does the estimate. And but I would say that we probably grow to about 10, so we're probably going to grow by about 30%, I'd say, in staffing. All full-time positions, all professionals. We don't have many trainees in our business. We're fortunate because of how we take care of folks that we really don't have to go through the trainee portion very often. Typically, we get pretty certified guys that know what they're doing. And you know what? They want to get sick as much as you want to get sick. And they're around it all day.
Understandable.
They're very careful, and they won't
What
pull the place
happens,
apart.
as a vehicle is getting sprayed, what happens to the overspray? Where does that go? Is it into a back filter, or does it?
That's what the spray booth is there for. It's a heated spray booth, and what happens is these are they're ultra high powered, and they're it's something I've never witnessed before. But as you spray, you can see the overspray. Typically, when you're in a downdraft spray booth, in ours right now, you can see the overspray.
Mm-hmm.
In these, you can't even see it. That as you spray, it gets pulled right down into the
Right
floor
down
immediately,
into-
and it goes into the system where it all gets cleaned out. Like I said, you can't smell paint.
It goes
outside.
through filters.
Yeah.
It does
They
go through
change the
filters.
filters like once a month.
Yeah, and the filters are they part? Working over around this thing
Nice
here.
place to put it, column.
Do the filters, are they part of the puck process,
No,
or
the filters
is
are
that
but
separate?
That's all been tested with the state, and it's all below all the minimums.
Mhm. And then they get barreled up, sealed
Yes.
up, and sent away to the
Yep.
same facility?
Yep.
Okay.
So everything gets caught, and like Tom says, the new spray booths are just unbelievable what they do now, because of all these issues.
Yeah.
And I mean, the stuff we have now, where it's great, but it's all legal now, and it's all been approved by the state. And they check it, every few years or so, they check on you.
Where are we going in 5 years, and
Oh,
that's
it
the reason
could
why we
change.
wanted to.
Tomorrow, it could
Right.
change.
And this spray booth is set up with the ability to do more than what the others have been able to do. So
They could have spent, AutoServe could have spent a lot less money on these spray booths than they did. But they literally bought the top of the line you could buy, and that's one of the reasons why.
Well, that's
That's what I would
comforting.
expect as neighbors, even though we tell you, you must have downcast lighting. If they find lighting's intrusive onto their property, they call you and you go, yeah, whatever, we'll put a little cap on there, it's cool. You can work it out neighbor to neighbor,
we do.
absolutely.
We,
One more.
go ahead, no.
Now, one more question. Now, you say you're gonna store your chemicals and waste in barrels, correct?
Indoors.
It will be indoors,
And
so,
it has to stay in the paint room.
Yeah.
okay.
It has to stay in that explosion-proof paint room.
Yep.
And, I guess one other concern is we have grandchildren, great-grandchildren running around. They're adventurous, as, they can be. And, we wanna make sure that they don't get hurt and we can we'll advise them to stay off your property, but if they do, is there anything that might hurt them, maybe?
There's nothing really.
Everything's inside the shop, like Tom says.
Are you
And
planning on
especially
putting a
this one.
fence around it or anything, or?
Today,
Just-
no.
Yeah, okay.
But could that happen in the future? Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I
it
suppose
can
if you have security problems with
happen.
people.
And that's the
thi-
thing,
and
with
things
us
of that
leaving our
nature
stuff
happen.
indoors,
Yeah.
we've already locked it up. Now, with it, if we weren't able to keep all the stuff indoors, then maybe we'd have to consider putting a fence up.
Yeah.
But we don't have a fence up down the street,
Right.
and there's a lot more that sits outside down there than here. And the quality of work is still good, but the amount of time they put into it, because you start doing work and you have to move it outside, well, then it gets snowed on or rained on.
Right.
Now you gotta get it back up to temperature inside the building again. These guys are gonna come in the morning and have their work ready to go, so the work's gonna go through faster. And what's nice is the insurance companies are gonna like us that much more, because they don't want your car to be down. When your car gets into an accident, they wanna put you into a rental, and a couple days later, you're driving your car again.
Right.
That's what they're looking for. And so they're looking for facilities like we're gonna offer them right now. We haven't been able to do that up till now, and
Well,
that's.
get Progressive on board, because that's my insurance company,
Look,
so if I have any issues,
that's-
Yeah,
how very
we're trying-
convenient.
Yes, we are trying, and Progressive likes us very much. What they aren't thrilled with is our facility currently. And so every one of them has said, you know, put a new facility together, when you're done, come see us. Part of what we're gonna have in this is a space for the appraisers themselves. So you can actually meet them in an office that's theirs, they can pull your vehicle indoors to do an indoor inspection. What's nice about some of the companies is they actually do the ordering. So they'll come in, they'll inspect what's wrong with it, and they'll say, just leave the car here, we'll get you a rental car. We already have Enterprise, so they can just grab an Enterprise car. Have a nice day, see you later, the parts are ordered, and our guys are going to town on the car. That's what we look for, so, you know.
Did you have anything you wanted?
No, sounds good to me.
Just want to make sure everyone's heard that chooses to bid.
There was a Jones.
It happens.
It does. Anyone else from the public? Well, I guess we'll close the public part of it. Anything else from the board?
I guess my only question is, other than using kitty litter or something, is there anything else that you can do to keep stuff from running out of the cars while they're outside?
Yeah, there's,
I mean, are these things drained, or you
like
don't
Tom
do
says, I
anything?
mean,
In the building, it's drained.
Right.
We have a drain inside the building. And that's primarily where 90% of our vehicles are gonna be.
Right.
If something was to leak on the lot that we have currently right now on the west side of Tilton, we don't just throw kitty litter on it. Typically, if there's something that's leaking, we have something we call pig mats, and those are oil absorbent mats.
Right, right.
And those pig mats are, you buy them in huge
Yeah.
lots. And so if a vehicle in any of our businesses we know is leaking, you throw a couple pig mats underneath there, and it absorbs it. That's why you can't see spots. You know, when you drive through a lot, you don't see spots, because if it begins to leak, we're cleaning it up.
Yeah.
The worst place we have spots in the building up the street is the runway, because people pull into the runway to drop their vehicle off, and if they're leaking transmission fluid or something, it's kind of hard to chase the leak. But if it's
Right.
parked somewhere, it's quite easy, and it's what we do. You know, so as we told them, you know, we've been a good neighbor to everybody. We're going to continue to be a good neighbor. We do things the right way, and if there is anything like that at all, we protect the same area that I live in. I'm a neighbor here too, and I don't want to have any of that stuff go on either. So
Right.
you know, so I would say that if we knew something was leaking, I will tell you right now that there are stacks of pig mats in every one of our businesses. We throw pig mats down. If there was a mess that we didn't expect, a wrecker dropped the vehicle off and there's a big mess out there, we'd not only use pig mats, we'd also use kitty litter. We clean it all up and we dispose of it the right way.
Could someone potentially, let's say I'm driving home and I take out the statue in the middle of town here, and I'm gonna get my car fixed at auto service, can I just have my car towed there?
Yeah.
And potentially it could sit there overnight till a week
Could.
ago?
Yeah. Most of the towing in town gets done by Rusty's,
Yeah.
and he knows what's going on. Typically, there's a message on his machine in the morning that says, I got one down here you gotta look at, and he runs over there, looks at it. The insurance company is who needs to say, okay.
Right.
And fortunately for us, on days that we have really bad weather, certainly I'm I'm a cell phone relationship with Rusty. So
Right.
if there's any kind of issues that he's got, you know, he calls me and I do what I need to do. Whether it be open up a building over here, because there's times that's what needs to happen. You get a car, that windows are all blown out of it. And
Right.
typically, that's what I'll do is I'll put it in up here at this building
Mhm.
and bring it down to him.
And the other thing too is Rusty tows a car and it's got fluids leaking, you know, on his truck. He's gonna clean it. He's not gonna dump it in anyone's parking lot and have a big.
Right,
He's gonna
but
clean
if
it
there's
up.
if someone gets a car accident on Saturday, has their code.
And you just drove there yourself?
Or it was towed there directly.
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking, okay, it's gonna sit there all day, Saturday night and all day Sunday. You're not gonna get to it until 8 o'clock Monday morning. That's the type of thing, the scenario I'm just concerned about.
We, most things are either under pressure or they're very hot. And when they're under pressure, they blow out of there quick. When it's very hot, it's very thin and it moves quickly. So your oil that's very hot as you're driving the vehicle, if there's a hole that gets punctured in the car, it's leaking where you got in the accident. Is there some residual? Absolutely, there could be some residual, but the lion's share of it is gone wherever that car's sitting. If you pop your air conditioning line, that's going to blow out of there because that's under pressure.
Right.
If you pop a radiator line, again, it's under pressure, it's going to come out of there. So could there be some residual? Yeah, but certainly as much as we have down the street, and like I said, you can't find spots on the ground out there because it just, in our business, it just doesn't happen. So very, very seldom, and when it does, it's very obvious to us and we clean it up. So.
Anyone else?
I'll add that the environmental portion of it is something you need to pass to be able to be all-state approved, to be able to be AAA approved, to be able to be USAA approved. They look at these things to make sure that they're not a backyard junkie, and they know what they're looking for.
Right.
And we've passed all of them with flying colors to include AAA.
Are we still open to the public?
No,
No, you close.
I closed
Okay.
it. Couple of you guys are feverishly now, so you know what you have to say.
So are you making notes?
Why, yes.
Okay.
You too?
No, not necessarily, but I'm just saying.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept the application for, approved
It's Forest Realty.
for Forest Realty
Two.
2 LLC. With the following conditions, contacting DOT for curb cut and contacting the Conservation Commission,
Comply with all
comply
signage.
with all signage. They've done sewer and water
Sewer, water, lighting,
and lighting.
CO from Al.
Yeah, CO from the,
No,
From,
competency from Mr. LaPlante.
They have to do them for both.
hmm,
Mr. Blunt, yeah, they have to do them from both the fire department and
and fire,
Updated from the fire.
fire department.
I know you went to the fire, but it needs to be updated with.
well, they have to do the final anyway.
Okay.
Compliance with fire codes, is that what
Yeah.
you're trying to
The
say?
appliance Yeah, compliance with the fire codes.
Or you could actually say compliance with the letter from the fire department dated 10/23/2213. That was the letter they sent them,
Yeah.
going over all the things. And I would say not only do they have to go to the conservation, but whatever the conservation
You
is
have
going
to
to
be in
suggest.
compliance with what the Conservation
Yeah.
Commission suggests.
Okay, so let's start over here.
Start over. Good evening.
Updated driveway permit, updated DOT.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, what's number 2?
Signage,
Signage, okay,
CO,
CO.
They already did sewer and water, correct?
they've already done sewer
Yeah.
and water.
I haven't been approved by sewer though.
Now, they've got the application in there.
Okay.
Well, I would just put compliance with the sewer.
Sewer,
Any
Okay,
conditions that are going to be imposed on them.
and conditions.
comply with the letter of, what was the date on the letter?
10,
For the fire,
Hang on,
10/22/2013.
fire,
compliance with the
That
fire
was-
letter?
Did
Written by
Tim Schultz?
Yeah.
Tim
Kim
Gilbert.
Joubert.
Sorry. Sorry. You watch this.
Downcast lighting. Did you say that?
Yes.
Yes,
Signage.
I said signage.
And for housekeeping, we need a letter in the file that Tom was
Okay.
able to
Right.
represent
Okay.
them this evening.
Mhm.
Okay,
I have all those things written down.
okay.
Well, you'll get a formal letter anyway.
And you did get Conservation Commission, did you? Conservation Commission?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second that. Nobody else did.
I thought she's, oh,
We're
No,
still
I'm-
working.
oh, you made the
Make
motion.
motion.
Oh, sorry.
I was waiting
I
for
lost
you to
track.
done.
It was a long second motion.
Okay, it's been seconded, so.
Okay. All those,
We can probably vote.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
No, anyone abstain? No. All right.
All set?
Yep.
Get to work.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've kind of been on the other side of the table, and I want to tell you that I appreciate the volunteer work that you guys do for the town. Thank you, everybody.
Send Christmas cards.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry
To
Christmas
everybody.
to you.
Nice to meet everybody.
Thanks.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you
Merry
guys.
Christmas, neighbors.
We all drive, so eventually you'll see us, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You don't want to.
Very nice to meet you. Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you
Questions
for
you
coming.
wanted to ask or
No, you're the
anything?
neighbor.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Eric, this person is Julia?
Yes.
Hi, Julia.
They look very
Juliet, right?
Juliet?
You look
or Juliet?
You
familiar.
look familiar because I watched your planning board meeting from last, your last planning board meeting online.
Half these people weren't here.
Yes.
Yeah, it was much-
Very sure.
I think it was Jane and
She's
myself.
interested in being a member, an alternate or
An
you?
alternate.
An alternate?
Yes.
So she was invited to come to just see what's going on. She's brought her application and
That's
Right.
Good.
the select board
Okay, we'll
will.
try not to scare you.
You wouldn't be interested in
well.
being a full member?
I actually tape the meetings in Plymouth, so they also meet on some Tuesdays, so I'll do what I can. And occasionally there's meetings on Tuesdays that I have to go to up there.
Mhm. You live in town here?
I live in town, 66 Dunlop.
Yay. Well, welcome.
Welcome. What days of the month do they meet?
Mondays and some
We're
Tuesdays.
the second and fourth Tuesday.
Yeah.
Second and fourth. It's, yeah, do you
It's
need a
separate.
full member?
So
or-
how long have you
Oh,
been?
well, we're
We need a
short
lot.
too.
We're,
Oh, okay. I mean,
How long have you lived here?
we've only been here like a year and a half. Yeah,
Oh, that would be nice.
Are you gonna like it?
I like it.
we are
I
down
think
2
you're gonna
members.
like it.
Yeah, we
Okay,
are
well,
down to-
I'll come on. I can't promise I'll be at every single meeting, but
Well, even if you're an alternate, we ask our alternates to attend because You never know when someone might get sick or something and have to go home, and that way you've kept up with the cases, it's moved along.
Okay,
So,
whatever you need.
yeah,
We do have one
we got
other
you.
regular member that's not here tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have one more. She's
She's
She-
ill.
She's ill. She's had some surgery.
She had surgery and she
I was
was
just saying she
hoping
wasn't
to be here tonight, but there was another meeting I attended today she was supposed to be at and she was too sick to come, so.
yeah,
She-
all right.
All right. Moving on. Let's see, other business. Approve the November 12th and November
26.
26th
Minutes.
minutes.
Did you use those with that copy to your favor?
I'll make a motion to bring the minutes of November 12th to the floor for discussion and also as well.
Is that November 12th there?
Take two this month, yeah.
I had
I
them with the
second
last
that
meeting.
motion.
All those in favor?
Do you
Aye.
need something?
Aye.
I got one.
Just to take them, do you
Oh
need the
boy, I don't
12th?
remember if I had anything for this one.
Do you need the 12th, the minutes of the 12th?
I don't think I, yes, I did. Maybe I have it.
Awesome, because I have them for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you look at that, you're all busted up there.
All right,
Start with the
I
12th.
thought
We couldn't,
we did correct these. I wonder, but we couldn't vote to it, didn't we?
We
No.
didn't-
No, we didn't
we
correct them at all
Oh.
because we didn't
We
have
didn't have a
any.
Oh,
quorum,
that's
so we
right. Well, I
just,
guess I did this at home then.
Okay.
yeah.
All right, well, it's been 2 weeks since we didn't have a quorum for them. I
Right.
had them ready for that meeting. All right, let's see. First paragraph. Well, I kept just stopping and thinking what I was thinking. All right, be discussed with DOT,
Which were,
period. First paragraph. The access near the post office will have to be discussed with DOT, period.
okay.
Then I had, they may cross out only allow for and put require.
Only allow, they may only require?
They may require instead of only allow for. A right turn only exit lane.
Okay.
Next sentence.
Mm-hmm.
The plan shows that the individual lots, cross out that, will share cross access.
What? I'm sorry. I lost you.
Yeah, I think it's okay
Yeah,
how it is.
Yeah,
The plan
Okay.
the
shows
plan shows the
that
individual
will
lots
share.
that will share
I
cross-access.
think it's clean how it is.
As one development.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
don't know
okay,
why.
all right, never mind, we'll leave
All
that
right, never
alone.
mind my stuff
Senior
then.
moment. But you're right, because then you have D is for an
Yeah.
auto parts store.
Yeah.
And that's not clear. You're on the right track.
This is one development.
Well, I went for medical correctness, that wasn't medical correctness.
Okay.
That's why I corrected it. All right, fast food restaurant I put in, next to last sentence.
Okay,
For non-
But the beginning of that sentence is goofy.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
The is for a,
Oh,
middle
land
class
is for?
is,
Well, the middle parcel is for.
The
The
plan
middle
shows a
parcel is for an
3.2.
auto parts store, and the last parcel is for a bank
but at the
or
beginning of
fast
it,
food restaurant
Fast,
with
yeah.
a drive-through.
at the beginning of it, you've got a, the is for an
No, you
auto
skipped the
parts
line,
store.
you skipped the line. The plan.
In your moment?
Big time.
All right, next paragraph. Mr. Rice explained that the preliminary plans as opposed when doing,
That,
okay?
okay.
that.
And then I crossed out he has and just put plans respected all of the town zoning regulations. including
Okay.
the 20-foot blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
Okay.
Then that bottom sentence on the next paragraph, the very last paragraph.
Yeah.
Ms. Plessner stated they would need to go to the
Oh, you want to the.
ZBA
Yeah.
for a variance from the required setback.
Quick question. It says Ms. Plesser stated a special use permit application must be submitted, which is saying by the planning board.
Mhm.
How am I thinking of ZBA for that one too? Sorry.
No, that's planning.
Okay, sorry.
Right there.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh at this one sentence. I don't know how to change it, it's just how it sounds.
Which one is it?
Ms. Plessner has been looking
Into sexually
at
oriented
sexually
businesses
oriented businesses.
and doing some research. Mrs. Plesner, we need to make an intervention.
Yeah. I used to have this problem.
Has been looking into zoning regulations? maybe?
Yes, regarding,
Where are we going?
Much better.
looking into, looking at
I'm
zoning
sorry.
Zoning regulations.
regulations regarding, how's that?
Okay,
Yeah.
Better.
yeah.
Meanwhile, Tim's been awfully busy trying to rebuild the computer system in town hall, as well as the porch down low.
Yes,
Thank you,
regarding
Chairman Pyra.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
sexual oriented.
that's true. I was like,
Well, when I read that sentence,
Well, I wanted to
thought,
put-
what?
I wanted to put SOB, but I didn't.
Yeah, I know. Has been
It might have
looking
been
at
better.
zoning
Yes, it
regulations
might have been
regarding
better.
sexual oriented businesses.
I'm gonna see what Joe thinks of this.
Sexual and,
Any other changes, Mrs. Plesner?
well, I was just gonna say, instead of in doing some research, why don't we just put, Mrs. Plesser's been looking at the zoning regulations for regarding sexual oriented businesses as what we have will not stand up in court.
May not.
May not.
Yes,
May not.
as what we have,
Good, Eric.
Since what we have may not.
yeah.
Stand
since
up
what we
in court.
have-
What we have or what the town has.
What the town has,
What the town currently has, yes.
Yeah.
the town currently has,
May not survive a court challenge
may not, not survive.
because it's
Simmer
really-
D, simmer D.
That's good, because if you think of,
Court challenge.
there's a whole line that goes.
Yeah.
See, we have fun sometimes,
Challenge.
especially when it comes to,
Do you have any concerns with this? Are you all good on these minutes? Do you have any questions,
On these
concerns,
minutes?
comments?
On these minutes, I think we're
He went,
a little confused that, what is going on
With what?
to get us concerned about sexually oriented?
We have,
Ms. Plesner is concerned.
no, we have in our zoning ordinance, we have a section on sexually oriented businesses. And the courts couple years ago, started throwing things out because they said that the ordinances were taking away individual rights, the way they were worded. So, in other words, you can't prevent someone from doing something they want to do. In other words, our zoning was based more and aimed more at individuals that were doing this kind of business instead of at the business itself. So it required us to make some adjustments to our ordinance because if the planning board upholds what they have right now, if that were to be the case, then if it were challenged and taken to court, we might not have won our case. But by changing it so that we're gearing everything around, what this is going to do to the community, it has nothing to do with the individual and his personal likes and not likes. It just has to do with where it's going to be. Will it have any influence on our children and, the schools and things like that? So it's just they needed to be reworded a little bit.
Yeah, aren't we in a position where no matter what we do, we're still going to be there? In the same position?
Well, I was gonna
As
say,
long as we make
No
it
matter
an
how we
ordinance that is,
No matter how we change it, somebody is going to want to fight it somewhere along the
and they
line.
absolutely have that right
And-
to.
and they
Of
have
course
the
they
right to
do.
do
But
that.
we
But
have
we don't
to
wanna be
make sure
vulnerable.
Well,
that we're
let's
not
focus on
doing it just
approving the
because
minutes,
it's
and
not
then we can talk about that when we get
palatable
to
to
the
us.
That's-
section.
All right.
We're doing it because it's the right thing for our community,
It's the
which
right
is our,
thing to do.
which is our right as
Let's,
a.
All
And-
right,
And
So-
supposedly,
Yes, we
we
can
were
take your
trying
meeting
to
back
do
over.
that
I'd
before.
like to
And
regain
did we-
control.
If we did it now and somebody questions it, and it falls on its face, then it deserves to fall on its face.
Correct, that's why we're looking into it
And
now.
that position is a position that we will still be in, no matter what we do.
well, hopefully not.
It'll be more fun this way.
Hopefully not.
Yes, hopefully we'll come up with something that's
But
better.
at, but
We
at the
need to make
moment,
ourselves
we're
less
right now.
vulnerable.
Yes.
at the moment, we're just approving the minutes
Yeah,
or not, and then
We'll
we'll
talk
discuss
about
that
it a little bit
after.
more later. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of November 12, 2013 as
I
corrected.
will second that.
I don't think he can because he wasn't
Yeah, he can't.
Then I'll second it,
here.
because I was here.
Judy.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye, aye,
Aye.
Captain.
Aye.
Okay,
Opposed?
make a motion to bring the minutes of November 26, 2013 to the floor for discussion and ultimate approval.
Second?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I don't need my computer slow, sorry. I have my computer slow.
Would you want a copy? We have copies here.
Nah, just save the paper.
We still have copies here, whether you
No,
want
we
to
already
save the
used
paper or
paper.
not. They're already on the table.
Okay. if you
The
have
tree
a-
already died,
All right,
whether
I'll
you're,
take it then. Thanks.
We waste a lot of trees.
Any,
corrections, omissions?
No, I make a motion to accept the minutes of the November 26, 2013 meeting.
all those, oh,
Second?
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I wasn't here, I have to abstain. I was not present.
Not present.
I'm sorry, Gus, we're talking too low, we're having too much fun over here.
No,
Are you with us?
yes.
You sure does.
Correspondence.
How going?
Quickly,
Where's that purple folder?
quickly.
All right.
Correspondence. Board needs to adopt
Master plan.
hazardous mitigation. Oh, this is the master plan. We'll just, I'll do it for the correspondence first. And I'll do that.
Okay.
All right, Town of Belmont. Belmont Planning Board meeting Monday, December 16th. Proposed here in Windsquam Marine. Request for site plan approval for boat storage and inventory. And McCrunchy, a public hearing from McCrunchy LLC. Property, 320 Daniel Webster Highway. Is that close to our town line?
Yeah.
No? Hmm?
I think it's just because Westfall Marine is in
Oh.
Tilton.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
Well-
gonna store in Belmont.
Probably because we're across the river or something.
Yeah.
We have bought across the river. All right, 2014 Community Development Block Grant, CDBG funding opportunities,
Right.
available for the January 2014. Deadline is Monday, January 27th. Well, there's the meeting minutes from January 12th. If you're looking for those, all the copies are in here.
Oh, good. They just get mixed up sometimes.
Our 2014 meeting
Agenda.
schedule. I'll go through that. Did everyone look through that? Anyone have any issues with that?
Let me give her one of those.
Okay.
And that way, yeah, she can kind of look and see what the agendas are for the planning.
We would be the left-hand column. There's also ZBA on there as well. It's an email from me regarding sign ordinances in the town of Lakewood.
Yeah, that was last time too, and I kind of just left that in there because we weren't.
Community Action Program, Historical Resources, 249 Main Street. Which one was that? That was for that. Historical Resources.
What is that?
249 is the building on the end of Mechanic Street and Main Street. They're looking something about painting their building or doing something with the building.
Building's over 50 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're on the National Historic Preservation Act. Let's see.
Is the gray one down there?
The
In accordance-
green one,
In accordance with
greenish
section
one on
106 of the National
One's owned by
Historic
Blair.
Preservation Act and the Federal Advisory Council on Historic Preservation Regulation, protection of historic properties, the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources and State Historic Preservation Office has reviewed the undertaking referenced above with respect to potential effects on properties listed or potentially eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. One property greater than 50 years old is located within the proposed project area 249 Main Street, Tilton, New Hampshire. Based upon the information provided, it has been determined that no ground disturbing activities will occur. Therefore, no archaeological studies are required at this time.
Well, good. I was worried about
There
that.
you go. No fish bones. Keep the river flooded there.
It has.
Let's see. Oh, this one passed, but this was State Energy Facility Site Evaluation Committee. This is the Town of Tilton ZBA Notice of Decision, MC&G Inc. Riverfront Place. Their variance for additional banners was denied.
We've gone through these, we went through these before.
We did, but the whole board wasn't here, so I
Right.
had them. I just left them because
Most
everything.
recent population projections, this is all the population for the entire state.
No,
Um,
I'm not gonna make it.
Register of Deeds, this is to let you know that
Yes.
all members required whenever you do that. And then this is for 822 Laconia Road.
Mhm.
Did they get their final inspection on December 2nd?
They got an inspection, haven't heard. Need water, Jane?
So don't have a cough.
Something, cough drop or something, you have hard candy or
Yes, I'm looking.
whiskey.
Go next door and get you a whiskey.
I have soda. Okay, so-
Would you like us to take a break?
There you go.
Yeah, can we
Why don't we
take
take a break?
can we take a
Piece of
quick
gum?
break?
She's got hard candy, thank you.
Okay?
Can we take a,
Can we take 5?
stretch break?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
That completes the correspondence,
That
correct?
completes the correspondence, and I
Okay.
need to,
We shall take a, then get me going, sister.
all right.
I put it over there, so let's
Next,
keep it.
Next
Welcome.
on our agenda is other business. Letter A, adopt the updated master plan.
Right.
So the board needs to adopt hazardous mitigation as a
Hazardous
community.
Well, we put the hazardous mitigation, we added the Tilton hazardous
Oh, that's
mitigation
right.
plan to that, now we
Yes.
gotta adopt it.
we gotta adopt the whole thing
Yes.
now.
Yes.
The complete document.
Yes.
And when they adopt it, they have to sign it, right?
Right,
And I took Rich's name off because he's no longer on the
Right.
board.
I make a motion to adopt the updated master plan.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would like to say I'm familiar with it, but,
Well, we've been working on it all along, but,
yeah,
For 4 years, Mom,
yeah.
at least.
oh, yeah.
Okay, so we got that done, so now we have to sign it.
Yep.
And then we need to,
I gotta give it to Cindy. She's gotta stamp it, right?
right, well, you have to make a copy,
Mm-hmm.
and once you have the signature page, then you can just make a copy of that too.
Tilton Planning Board is.
The signature page is there.
Yep, so I guess we all have to sign it.
Yep,
Yes.
and then, in order to expedite, so you can get one to Cindy right away is, I would take and, make a copy of it, two-sided, and then just staple it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have all your, because you were gonna use the other maps.
Yep.
And, you know, that way you can give her an official copy, and she'll date stamp it.
Have to
Tomorrow,
do this
yeah.
later.
And then we'll make a few, and then, you know, I don't mind coming in, I'll help you. We can use the machine and, you know, have some with the spiral that we send to the state and stuff. But
Okay.
otherwise, it's gonna be online too, so there won't be any real need to have a lot of copies in the office.
Yep.
Mr. Haberman, it would be a great pleasure if you would apply your John Hancock to this document.
To this,
Yes.
We do Robert Haberman this time.
Oh, I was gonna sign my John Henry.
this is something you folks don't realize.
What's that?
I have been being schooled on writing my signature because
Okay.
I haven't been able to do it.
Very good. Well, you're doing an awesome job.
Maybe we should save it in perpetuity.
During my therapy session this morning, I was required to sign my signature 10 times
Mm-hmm.
with my eyes open and 2 times with my eyes closed. And I got through it.
Very good.
Woo-hoo. Finally.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There you go.
My pleasure. Mr. Pirate, would you like the meeting back?
I'll take it back. The microphone is close to the table, very. There you go.
That makes You feel better
Judy said about it.
later?
I feel bad.
All right,
All right,
Didn't you know what I said? I'm pardon, sorry.
what's next?
Working on zoning regulation changes. This is our,
Would you like to discuss your SOBs?
Yes, I did want to discuss my SOB.
I thought so.
that's short for sexually oriented
Yeah.
business.
You will notice that I highlighted,
JK.
I highlighted a big section.
A lot more.
Okay, now the highlighted part is what exists currently. If it's not highlighted, that's what I added to it. So like the whole front part has been added. And then all the yellow was what was there. And then on the end, there's a part. Now some of these highlighted areas are basically saying the same as the bottom, the very bottom.
Yep.
But I didn't know how you wanted to go, so I gave you choices. So anyway, however you, I think the front part is very important. The one thing I didn't put in is we have a lot of, I made a lot of copies of different reports, you know, that we can use, that we got our information from, you know, where it talks about, oh, you can have that one, please. We have. I don't know if you got any.
We have a copier.
What's that?
I do have a copy of that.
Of the
Did you
special,
send-
no, I didn't. I just made that this week, so
Oh, he
you,
does, there, he's got it.
oh, okay.
See?
Oh, we
So,
had one on the table.
anyway, I was thinking what we could do is, if you want me to put a paragraph in here about the different reports and studies that we have collected on, you know, our reasonings behind this, I can do it. Or we'll just, you know, I did put something in here, let me see, where is it? Oh, yes, reports and studies read for this regulation are available at the land use office. Instead of listing them all, because as time goes by, we might find, you know, more reports that we would keep for it as well. So I didn't know how you would feel about that. Whatever we decide tonight, however we end up with it, I will be planning a trip sometime this coming week down to the local government center to sit down with them, just to go over it and make sure that we don't have any snafus of any kind in there that we might not be thinking about.
You haven't had any follow-up calls on that one call you got, have you, Gus? Remember that one call you got?
No,
Asking where, okay.
no, nothing. Oh, they wanted to have an adult bookstore or something in town? No, I haven't, nothing.
So anyway, I guess what I need to know from you guys is what your thoughts are.
Is there a benefit or not a benefit to us listing those studies in the ordinance at all?
Is there a benefit to have them in the ordinance? I don't know.
I think it's a detriment, because if
Exactly.
there were a situation, we would go to a court.
That's what I was, that's.
Yeah.
The defendant would list those specifically, and then it would be difficult for us to pull in new information.
Right. So I think just having a file here at the town hall that will have all these. Oh, got a 9 in my location.
I just noticed that, Sandy, too. I
Okay.
just circled it. I was like, whoop.
Go you, Gus.
Oh, yeah.
I have this problem with the wayward pinky. It tends to get,
Why don't we? It's the weakest of our fingers.
yes.
Those wayward cases.
That's what got us into this whole discussion.
So anyway, as far as the 12.2, the definitions, these are the definitions, right, that we already have regarding these. And we could keep those right down to principal purpose. Okay, and then you come down to 12.3, which is conditions, and that goes into the details, and this is in our local ordinance now. That goes into the details on signage, the minimum setbacks, this setbacks from certain zones, like, you know, you don't want any of these kind of businesses to be intermingled with residential areas.
I have a
You
question,
don't-
Sam.
Yeah,
On that being in village mixed use meeting, right now, if a charter permitted uses, it's only allowed in industrial.
I know, but I had put in here, and that was another question I had for you, was there will be, where is it, so I can read it to you? Adjacent to. Oh, maybe it's in.
Stop giggling. I was just wondering, will the charter permitted uses have to be changed too?
Yes, they
Okay.
would be.
That was,
I gotta find it first, though.
me too. I'm looking.
I'm looking.
Didn't want it, he'd be right there. Oh, yeah, it's on page 72.
Then back?
No, it's under E, commercial, sexual orientated business, number 3. Section E, commercial. Number 3.
Oh, you mean in the,
Charter permitted uses.
yes.
Yeah.
So you're trying
Okay,
to
it
put it
says-
in a different,
Well,
Yes.
we only have it like,
Well,
right-
that's part of the problem
it's
we're
currently
presenting.
in industrial, which would
Yes.
be an issue.
yes,
yes.
and that would be.
So
an issue.
I've put in here, live adult entertainment uses and passive adult entertainment uses shall be permitted in a portion of the regional commercial district along Route 3 highway by special exception.
So you just want to change it to,
But I mean, it could still be industrial, but I
Yeah.
mean, regional commercial is the only district we have where there's frontage along Route 3, the main road in town. Any of the other districts, like general commercial, also is a smattering of residential and commercial. Mixed use is residential and commercial. And so, and of course, resort commercial along the lake, that's both residential and commercial in the resort area. So, regional commercial is the only district where residential is not permitted. It's strictly business. But it's also important if you're, if you allow it, then what you want to do is, by doing it by special exception, the ZBA would be able to look at it and see how close they were to the next district, which might be all residential.
Right.
what if somebody
But as-
wanted to buy the Tony Turgeon's property?
Oh, down
As,
here?
as the
That's-
planning board, our job is to make sure that our planning for the whole town is appropriate.
Right.
So just because it says this does not mean we cannot refuse it
Right.
if it
Right.
is not within what is best for our
Yeah,
community.
but I was in
Right.
RG, and in,
But that's up to the
Regional
people.
commercial,
yeah, in
but in general,
GC, in general commercial.
commercial, that's
Yes.
both, that's
Yeah.
residence and.
But there is there's a couple of big pieces of
There's a
property in
big
that
pieces
area.
of property there,
So,
but they
you
would
know, it
still have to
could be-
come in site plan.
Yeah, they'd have to site plan, definitely.
And I would say that probably that you wouldn't want.
Yeah, because it's right near the high school too.
Right,
Well,
it's near a school, it's
Proximity,
near
yeah. And a daycare.
residence,
I
and
bet.
You've got whole
daycares.
child center there,
Oh,
so.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
it's also very important, as you notice in here, that part of the, most of the studies that I read said your biggest issues as far as losing property values and crime rates is when you allow these to get too close to each other, so you end up with like a strip.
Strip.
Yeah.
No
Like the
pun
combat
intended.
zone in
Right.
Boston.
No pun intended. So what you want to do is keep them to where they're separated. They can't possibly, have
Cluster
you
up.
you don't want a cluster of them. So, by putting them there and making a special exception too, I like that, because that way the ZBA can also look and say, well, you're only 100 yards from the mixed use and there's residences right there. So you need to look for another piece.
But, just, I don't know, just, I don't know how to say it. If there was something like, if there was one going somewhere, and let's say there was a school nearby in Northfield, would that be considered 1,000 feet, or is it only within the town of Tilton?
Well, the school, obviously, it's part of the district. I mean, they certainly would get an abutters notice.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking, I didn't know if like,
If-
if someone's putting something on the town line, there would happen to be something
Well,
a
then I
church
guess,
or whatever.
yeah,
It's still our right as the planning
Yes.
board to do
Right, but I didn't know
what
if
we feel
that,
is
if
best
it,
for
because
the.
if it went over the town line, does the 1,000 feet stop at the town line, or does it carry over, or whatever the
well, no other site plan stops at the
That's a good question.
town line as far as you're notifying abutters, direct abutters all the way around.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter whether it's across the river and in another town, there's still an abutter.
Well, like this says, within 500 feet of the property line, a private or public school or
Mm-hmm.
a child, I'm just for fun, let's say, I can't think of anything off the top of my head except for
Pretend
town.
there's a preschool at the library and
Yeah.
somebody wanted to
Well,
put
there-
something in near Pocket Park,
Yeah,
near 500 feet.
yeah, let's say one of those empty spots next to the nail salon or something like that, wanted to put
Right.
something in.
Yeah,
Does that 500 feet extend across the river into Northfield?
yeah, I would say it does,
Of course, 500 feet down the other way, you have a church, and
right.
so,
So, I mean, these are the kind of things, so I guess what I need to know from you guys is like, on the third page, yes. You have signs, location requirements, minimum setbacks. And then down on where it says 12.4, adult entertainment uses. Now, that pretty much is covering the same things, some of the same things that these are already. So I didn't know, we can keep what we had and then just come down here and just give the zones and stuff. But I need to know which, you have to give me directions so I know how to finish this up so I can take it down and have it looked at.
Well, I think that this is fine to do it the way you've done it. I just wonder if on some of these, do adult arcades still even exist? Is that,
According to every zoning that I looked at online, all have the same list of the different
okay,
definitions, because if you don't have the definition, it leaves you vulnerable if, say, an
Okay.
adult arcade comes in
okay.
and wants to site plan.
I just thought they were sort of arcade. I thought
They
were
may
old
be,
combat
but,
zone thing.
so it might be helpful if
The
you
way
gotta
it was
keep
in-
in there, because someone will bring it back or something.
yeah. But whether they still exist, I don't know, no. I haven't gone that far, I may be working on it, but I didn't go out in,
Well, there are things like, should we update stuff like films, motion pictures, video cassettes? Oh, I guess
DVDs.
but I guess other video reproductions with DVD would fall in that category, so we
Yeah.
don't have to do anything.
yeah.
Slides
Okay, I
and
just-
stuff
yeah.
there.
If you have any comments, you're welcome to make comments.
Dive in.
Yes.
Of course, they probably wouldn't dare on this topic. We blame it
I
on
wasn't
you.
expecting this.
Huh?
Well,
Welcome to planning board.
unfortunately, when we first did it, talking to the attorney, and I said, do I really need all that? It's like, but you do, because if it's not there, they can take, then you're eliminating an area and it has to be addressed.
It's a loophole. We
Yes,
have to
it
make sure we
becomes that.
close the hole
We
where we
received
can.
a list of gray
No problem.
areas of
Yes.
things that we
Gray
needed
areas.
to correct
Yeah.
or modify. Was it from the town attorney that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
don't think
some of
it's-
them are.
Some of them were, but
Yeah.
some of this was
Some
just
are
on
for
a
the
list
board.
of stuff that's been happening.
Yep. Sometimes as you go, if you get more time and you're, from case to case, you'll find certain things keep coming up. Those little gray areas, how do you handle it? And then you make a note to self, fix the ordinance. Because it's leaving, you don't know which way to go, it's just leaving too big of a gray spot there, so. And that's where a lot of these zoning changes come from. And it's not just for the board, it's, sometimes people will come in and say, well, you need to fix this, you don't really know what it's supposed to, what are the limits on this, or whatever it might be. So it helps everybody out if it's more black and white and easy to read.
Well, yeah, and I was wondering about massage parlors, and I thought I saw something on here about that, because
Yep.
that can be a gray area where it's supposed to be, it's not related to this specifically, but
Well,
it says it's a massage parlor, but it's not.
right,
And that's a different issue, but
right.
something that comes to mind.
Yes, I know, there is something in here about massage.
Yeah, but I don't,
Massage.
I mean, we have a lot of massage parlors, but they're connected with chiropractors
Yes.
Yeah.
and practices, so
Right. it's
they're
the other thing.
legitimate. They're,
And then it-
Right.
no,
I
but
mean,
I mean, we have a lot of masseuses, I guess. what you're saying.
Therapeutic massage.
Yeah.
Yes.
there, yes.
Therapeutic massage is
I thought I saw something.
It's different if you're
Everywhere.
getting a therapeutic massage or a massage with a happy ending. It's two different massages.
Yeah, it would be.
It's like I said, it was said a little bit earlier. No matter how far we go, there is someone can always challenge us.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely, and there's
Oh,
always
yeah.
an
And we
attorney
can,
out there that'd
and
be
we
delighted
can,
to
we
do
can
it.
play with this from now until doomsday.
Yeah.
We will not get to the point where nobody can
Oh, you're absolutely right. All we're
question.
trying to do is you try and fix it with what you know right now is already wrong
That's-
with it. That's all you can do.
That's all you can
Because
do.
see if I have it handy.
And I guess maybe I've just lived long enough to know that no matter how far you go, you're not gonna go far enough.
Yeah.
So this is the suggested,
I think it
changes.
looks good how it is, Cindy. I think you did a good job with it.
Yes,
All right.
this is as good a
Oh,
place
yeah,
as
this
any.
could be-
Yeah.
Money here.
Sorry.
Okay, I found this online. This is called Find Law.
Okay, let's.
And it's
go over
talking in
that.
here about zoning laws regulate where a given type of business may or may not locate, and also pertain to residential, industrial, and other interests. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that local ordinance may regulate the time, place, and the manner in which such business, and this is about SOBs, are operated without violating the First Amendment. Zoning laws specific to SOBs are valid as long as they are intended to minimize the negative effects that these businesses, such as lower property values or drug use, and are not motivated by the adult content itself, which would be in violation of the First Amendment right. But within these parameters, zoning laws for SOBs differ tremendously and often reflect the prevailing cultural sentiments of the community. So in other words, I tried very hard with this whole front paragraph here to stress that we're looking to protect our property values and our residential areas and our children. You know, we're not saying people can't be part of this. We're just saying we're going to tell you where you can do it so that you don't, unduly bring extra crime to the community or, of course, lower property values.
And this is all by special exception, right? Or
Yes.
just in certain zones?
Well, I was thinking, well, no matter what it would be, even industrial, it should all be by special exception. You don't want someone to say, well, how come he doesn't and I do? So if we put it in our chart, on the permitted uses, both industrial and the commercial district would be by
Regional commercial?
special. Yeah, regional commercial.
Okay.
So it'd be in regional commercial and industrial by special exception. That way you have two boards,
That's my phone, I think.
two boards looking at it. And I don't think there's
It's a
ever
message.
anything wrong with having two boards look.
I have a question, and this is just, it seems odd to
I'm with
me.
you on the same one, that's where
It
I'm
seems
at.
odd to me,
Okay,
on,
F.
F,
all right,
nude model studio.
okay.
I don't see that as
Because you could have.
sexually oriented business. I see that more as an art college or,
Art form.
you know,
Okay.
What would be,
a nude model
But-
studio.
But this is commercial establishment, not a college or
Yeah,
a
it's a-
nonprofit.
what if I was a
Yeah.
photography studio,
Yeah,
and someone came in to do, what do they call it, a boudoir, type,
Uh-huh,
thing, a woman came in for her husband that wanted to
That's true.
take pictures, would that be considered a sexually orientated business?
I'll get more
Uh,
specific than that. There was
no.
a photographer who had a business on Main Street in Tilton.
yeah.
What was his name?
He who shall not be named per the Hobbit.
Yeah, you
Anyway.
don't.
No, you
But
know
we
what I'm
know.
talking about.
It was on the corner.
Yeah,
Yes.
a very good photographer, very
Yes, he was.
professional photographer. And he used to take pictures of nude pregnant women,
If that's what they chose.
if that's what they
Yeah,
chose.
and a lot of them do
And
that.
some of those were displayed in the window. Now,
But now,
Would this prohibit that?
this would prohibit that.
yeah, but on the nude photos, I've seen those too, but, you know, like, I think we all remember the one of Demi Moore on the cover, you know, and she had one hand right here, and she was turned sideways so you could see her belly, and it was on a national magazine,
Well, that wasn't nude though.
but she
No,
was nude.
Well, I mean.
She didn't have a stitch of
she
clothes
was
on her.
Not full frontal.
No,
nudity.
it wasn't a full
So
front.
this is where we get into that gray area.
Yes.
No, but
That's where
but
the
see, to me, this one,
Mhm.
I don't see this, I think it's inappropriate for this to be here, but I don't
Well, I mean,
I don't
this-
know, I mean, you're going
That's
to
why
go
we're
see an
discussing
attorney,
it.
that's why we're
Yes.
discussing it.
Yeah, so if you could
and-
make note
Ask
of
that
that
of
and
him
ask-
about
Right.
that.
Okay, is it appropriate?
Gosh, I should know, he was there for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose, yeah, it could go,
I'm curious about the
Very
boudoir,
graphic.
I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
Boudoir,
The
photography.
No,
definition
no,
for
I
a
know what you
nude
meant.
model studio.
I have people that, I have friends that are photographers and they
Hey, friends.
Oh, I'll ask the attorney
do
about it.
that,
I know, that's what I mean, and I don't,
and some of them
So if you could
aren't.
inquire on that
Yeah.
when you
At
talk
least
to
from-
them and
because
find
I
out
don't see
what
that as
their,
adult entertainment,
like
I
an
see that as
opinion on
art.
that.
Yeah,
well,
no, that's not an issue.
so.
And how easy,
If you're a photographer, you're commercial,
Yeah. I
if you get
also,
paid to do it,
you're
you're
getting,
commercial.
and you're paying somebody,
right,
okay?
But, so, I mean, could you put in there something about as long as the products aren't displayed in the front window? Or-
But these were with him,
These
and they
were
were very
with him.
tasteful, so check
Well,
with
They
the
weren't
attorney.
Yeah, I
nude,
will.
though.
And find out what the,
They were only partial nudes.
Well, they
If
show
they
the
were full
breast.
frontal
it's
nudes,
tough,
then-
yeah.
Because
What do
a
you
lot of
consider
people
nudes?
have those type of, when they're,
Yeah.
they have
Oh,
those
yeah,
things.
that's fine,
Yeah.
unless it's.
I don't know, I'm honestly saying,
Well, I mean,
I'm
that
not
stuck
sure.
out with me, I'm not sure it belongs in there.
what's it, then- so she
Everything
can
else,
check with
everything
the-
else is pretty clear cut, I think,
okay.
but that, I,
All right, well, I will,
Really?
Or what would happen during bike week if someone set up a booth where they could do body painting? in that
They do.
park?
they do.
I know
They
in
do.
Laconia, but I'm saying here,
Yeah, what if
let's say,
they chose to here, what
Yeah.
is,
let's say like,
Yeah, what do we do?
does that fall under our hawkers and peddlers?
Everything goes,
We'll send it to the selectmen. So this is hawkers and peddlers, you deal?
and then Walmart has a rule that they don't do nude pictures except during bike week.
really?
What?
Walmart has a policy that they won't
goes my
develop
day.
nude pictures.
During bike
I
week?
did
Except
not
during
realize that they,
No, seriously.
Oh, no kidding.
Wow.
That was my plan for
Well,
bike week.
you could actually go further than that, because I had a, friend, not at this moment, but I had a friend that had pictures of her baby, and there was a naked picture there. And they said they would develop a bit of pornography.
That was, that was fairly recent, that they won't do the kids in the bathtub and all
Yeah.
that anymore, that they used
Well,
to
who
do
develops pictures anymore?
like that.
I don't know.
The
all
world
right,
is a different place.
The print picture.
so why don't we, I got pretty much a good understanding on that now. I think we need to address the signage.
Yes.
I don't have to sign it. Yes, I do.
Personally, people, the,
How this is now worded. The manufactured housing.
Hmm?
I say, I like how the manufactured housing is now worded. It's just,
That's,
I didn't see this, where'd this come from?
Yeah, so you'll get rid of, you
Oh, I'm
know,
gonna add to
Where's
it.
this document?
Where's that
Huh?
document come from?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the table.
oh,
It's
here,
it's
right here.
Well, pass it
But-
on.
yeah, we had talked
you
about
have
it.
an opportunity to get it just like everybody else. So put your wine.
I ain't gonna put my word in that.
So what would you do, just
mother was
replace,
a schnauzer.
I wasn't gonna replace anything.
well, if you take this, because you
No,
don't wanna
baby.
leave it this way, say all manufacturing housing installed after and used the current year, 13, or 14, because this is what's when it'll go for a vote, must meet the specifications and standards established by the United States Department of Housing and Urban
Oh, installed
Development.
after, okay.
But as of, well,
Well, that's the HUD thing.
yeah, so just get rid of as of April 1995. I don't know if they've updated it or not, but if you
Well,
say the
we
housing.
called them, Al called them, and they don't have any, they don't have any standards.
They don't have any standards?
Well, now, he said they have nothing new, they have nothing updated on mobile home standards. He called the state, our state.
Uh-huh.
So he has nothing, I forget what exactly he said, but.
So if you just put standards established by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development,
Period.
that would be, if their last update was in 95, that's when it
So
was.
take that out, take as
So
of
just
April.
take out
Yeah.
as of April 1st,
Yeah,
Okay.
you're just
1995.
saying, the United States of Housing and Urban Development, period. And then all manufacturing housing coming into the town of Tilton will be no older than 10 years from the current year.
See, that's good.
So if
Why
it's
then?
if it's
Why?
2014, then you take 10 years, so it can't be any older than 2004.
Why is that good?
It's better than saying they can come in no matter when they were manufactured.
Why is that advantageous to our town?
What do you mean? We
You don't want too many older ones
we don't
coming
want
in
too
that,
many older ones. So if somebody comes into town,
right now, he's not letting anything 95 or older come into town. Anything older than 1995 come into town. But that's getting very old if you have to
Do
go
we
take
have
them
any
for
extra
taxes
ones
there.
of
They're
these?
too old, you can't sell them. Their values lose so much money and they're
Yeah.
just, you know,
that's
so it's trying to keep them updated.
you
don't want people
many
moving older
old-
homes
You don't
into
want a lot of old ones here.
Yeah, that's pretty
At the
custom.
end.
I mean, if
30 years old,
they
40
want,
years
they
old,
should
or
find
whatever.
one new one.
Well, you
A
need one coming
1995
in.
or a 19,
Well, we don't care, except unless
That's
they're
pretty
coming in.
standard for a mobile home park, right? You do have set limits on how old.
yeah, even a lot of
Those would be
mobile home parks don't allow
Right,
the
I
older ones
understand
to
that.
come in
Coming
anyway.
into the town.
But there was people who'll call up and they'll say, I wanna come into town, but my mobile home's such and such.
It's 40 years old.
Yeah, you don't
Right.
want that
It's
coming in.
free or whatever.
Yeah, it's free, right?
If it's more than 10 years old and it's been sitting on somebody's lot.
This says coming into town.
From
So if it's
another-
already sitting on a lot,
It can stay,
it can stay.
but it's people bringing them in from another, say they were in a park in Belmont and they were having a dispute with the park owner and say, okay, I'm gonna move out and I'm gonna go to Tilton, but the home's 25 years old. Do you want it coming into
Oh,
town?
thank you.
You know, that's the thing, they don't really want them coming in and being that old, you know.
Keep losing stuff. You keep losing stuff. It was laying on the floor.
I did this one deliberately.
Oh, okay.
One second. I looked at it too many times, I didn't want to look at it.
Aha, I understand. But anyway, I think that would work there.
Okay, so I'll
That
take
way you're
that out
allowing
and I'll just-
10-year-old units, and if they're already in the park,
Mhm.
they're permitted, they can stay there, obviously. It
Yeah,
would just stop ones from coming into town that would be older than that. What do you think, Ms. Tilton? You have,
I don't think that, I disagree, so, but I know I'm in a minority here.
Well,
There's some wonderful mobile homes that are older than 10 that are in fantastic shape,
Mhm,
that people have redone.
right.
How
So it
often
was-
does that occur, that old ones are brought in? It's expensive to bring them in.
Mm.
And most of them won't travel over land. The older ones won't travel. They'll break apart in the travel.
But there have been people that called that wanted to move one from Belmont in just recently, and Al said no, because it was an older mobile home. It was older than 1995.
Well, we can certainly look at it. We don't have to make a decision quite yet. I can have that with me for the questions for the attorneys while I'm down there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I don't want to, prevent somebody if they have a really, some people have 20-year-old mobile homes that are in absolutely
But
impeccable
they've
condition.
gutted them and redone them all.
Yeah,
And the electric is a huge concern.
yeah.
I would think the electric and the plumbing, I think there would,
But there is he'll find it on the list. There is a standard year for when the electric all had to be redone by.
Right.
Is that like 79, 80?
The only thing I'm seeing with any type of year is 1976, but
Right. So anyway, I will check on that as well.
I'm not reading what the.
But even if the town has to take them back taxes, you just don't like to take them when they're old either.
Right.
But we
Which
don't set our
happens.
planning and zoning and
No, I
ordinances
know.
based on what might happen if
Yeah.
somebody,
Right.
in that case, we would say, I'm sorry, your house is an 1800s house. You
Okay.
can't purchase it because if we take it
Yeah.
for back taxes, it has no value.
Yeah, I know.
We can't base our zoning
No.
on that.
So this just says, there's a question. My home was built before June 15th, 1976. I've made some modifications to my home and believe it meets the HUD standards. Can someone come inspect my home to make sure it is in compliance with the standards? The answer is HUD does not inspect homes. Homes built prior to June 15th, 1976, even with modifications, do not meet the HUD standards and cannot be accepted as compliant with the HUD code. As the homeowner, you may find a licensed engineer willing to inspect your home for compliance with your state's housing code. FHA does not assure mortgages on manufactured homes built prior to June 15, 1976. Most other mortgage firms, insurance firms follow FHA's policy.
Because that's when they deemed all the electric different.
Well, I know in 95 they came out with new because there was a big change in the electrical codes and, so that they had redone them at that time. That's why we used it when we changed the ordinance at that point. Because they had just changed all the electrical and I'm trying to remember if the plumbing. But anyway, so that was from 95. Something, a big change took place. Because I don't know if you knew, his name was Bernard. He was the state electrical inspector. And he had explained it to us, what all had happened.
So we'll look further into that.
Yeah. So did you guys go over the signage at all?
I did, but I forgot.
Because we have to have a public hearing when?
Boy, I have that piece of paper with me. I might have it. We have to have it scheduled by July. We're gonna make it. We have to have our first one scheduled by January 10th with our meeting. It's just scheduled. Our meeting's on the 14th.
Okay, so we have to schedule, and when does the first meeting have to be then?
which ordinance?
I do- The one thing that kind of grabbed me was the discontinued obsolete signs. It was one of the ones that I sent you.
Right, what is an obsolete sign?
Well, the signs in all districts advertising any business, trade, or industry that discontinues operations must be removed within 30 days. Any sign which pertains to a business, service, activity, or event which no longer applies because of discontinuance or relocation of said business, service, activity, or event shall be deemed abandoned, and the sign shall be considered obsolete. Such obsolete signs are prohibited and shall be removed by the owner of the sign or owner of the premises. In addition, said owner shall be subject to other provisions of this zoning ordinance.
Because we do have, the business moves out, they have so many days to take the sign down. The frame can still stay there.
But
but
see,
they
I don't
have-
think the frame should be allowed to stay. I think you need to create a new sign. I mean,
And I tend to agree, because I think that's where we've gotten into issues, where people have put up these large signs.
But the problem is if that sign is there by variance, there's nothing you can do about it anyway.
is there a difference between it being there by variance or by grandfather?
Yes, there would be. A
Absolutely.
grandfathered sign, once, and everybody knows this, once a grandfathered sign comes down, you can't put it back
can't
if
put
it
it
were
up.
out of compliance. But if you have, like properties where they came in years ago and got variances for additional square footage and extra height and all that, it really doesn't matter, you can make them strip the whole place, but they can come back in and put the same number of signs right back up again, whoever would come in.
Well, let me give you an example of one that is not a variance. They did not have anybody's permission. Is Meltaway. They put that huge sign up on the roof.
Now, that was, I don't know why that was ever allowed, because it already
Well,
states.
they did it though, I'm just saying, they did it. If
Right.
somebody comes in,
Yeah,
they're gonna say, well, that
We're
was
gonna
already
think
there.
that they can do that.
but
And
it
they're gonna
says
think
right
they
in our
can do that.
zoning, that it says no roof
And
signs.
all the ice cream cones
That was
and
done
everything they did.
afterwards for that reason.
No, the
No,
old
no,
one said no,
no.
no roof signs.
The old one said signs on the roof or something, but then they changed it because of Meltaway, they revised it.
It says roof signs are prohibited. So now, how did they revise it in the new one?
Yes.
The old one said they were
We
prohibited.
get nowhere with that.
Let me keep picking on Meltaway.
Yeah,
That was an illegal sign
right,
that never came down.
but it should have.
In March of 2011.
Oh, it says no signage located on any roof or any part of the roof structure.
That's what was changed.
But Meltaway came in
But
well after that.
Meltaway came in well after and put it up.
No, Meltaway, that's the reason that was there. They changed it, and I can get out that thing. They changed it because of Meltaway. It was brought up by Mike Curley, and they decided to change it to make sure it was on any part of the roof, anywhere. But that was after Meltaway had already done
No,
it.
it was not, Gus.
Because
I beg to
Meltaway
differ.
wasn't in business
Exactly.
when that went into effect.
Well, this is revised as March 2011. When did Meltaway come to town?
Oh, I don't know, I'd have to look at the.
And this was originally done in 2008.
Right. They
Meltaway
were there in
came in.
2008.
The old signage regulations, I mean, what is wrong with saying, no signs, roof signs are not permitted,
Why?
because
Why was
that's
that
the rule.
changed?
I don't
Yeah, but
know,
why was it changed?
I don't,
Why are
they
they,
said
why do we have a problem
because,
with that?
because apparently the where Meltaway put their sign was not really on the roof, it was on the porch. Facade, you know, the way the,
It was on the top of the porch, which is
Right.
the roof of a porch.
But why
right.
do we have a problem with that? This is what I'm asking.
Yeah, why doesn't,
Why can,
no
Because
roof
why
it
can the
sign-
building not have it on their facade?
Because it was, I guess what I'm saying
Yeah,
is we had an ordinance that said they couldn't.
right.
They did it, and we didn't do a darn thing about it. And it gets back to enforcement again.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything about all their signage. They have all those ice cream cones
Mhm.
up as signage and stuff.
Talking about this kind of thing, Walmart has just put up a new sign with their, when they built the grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
okay? It has down pointing lights,
Down pointing, yep.
which is
We can have,
not allowed.
no, down pointing lights are on.
That's what we want.
That's
Oh,
what
is
we
it,
want.
oh, is it? wait a minute, it's-
Downcast is what we
it's-
want, so that
So
it's
we've
not.
got, okay. I've said it wrong,
Okay.
okay. They're not down pointing,
Point it up.
they're pointing up.
Well, so you can have signs both ways. You can have signs on the ground that are pointing up at the sign, or lights at the top of the sign pointing down. Our preference mostly is to have them pointing down, but if they're aimed up and only at the sign, so that they're not going beyond the sign to get in anybody's
2009.
way. Because a lot of times people do that.
Well, and
That
then
is
we
what
changed it
Well, I'll
because he
look
kept
the next
adding
time
to it,
I'm
and
there
they
to
put
see
it
if
up there, and
it's
that's
an
when that
issue
was
or not.
changed in 2011 about the roof line. Because but
But
he was
anyway.
approved for,
I
in
noticed
2009,
that.
didn't open till
I'll have to
2010.
look at it. I
I
noticed
haven't
it.
noticed it either. I haven't been down there at night.
No, I don't go down at night.
Road trip.
And what sign did they take? No?
Walmart.
Walmart.
Mr. Haberman brought up Walmart.
The way they
Yeah,
have
my
the,
question, and this isn't to do with signage, it's just a general, now that you mentioned Walmart,
Mhm.
we do site plan based on parking spaces.
yep,
Now, when Walmart does a redo like that, they take up a bunch of their parking spaces. Now they don't have the appropriate number of parking spaces for their site plan. What is up with that? Because I know in Concord, if like a business goes and says, I site plan for this, and I have 40 parking spaces. Well, now they decide to put in mulch.
right.
Well, they just took up 10 parking spaces. Well, they no longer have the appropriate parking spaces that they were site planned for.
Well, I mean, I don't know in Walmart's case, when they came in and did that site plan, we didn't have the parking yet. But they did have the parking spaces, and I know that we did go and talk to them at one point, and they'd moved a lot of this summer stuff to the one other side. But, you know, now, and they can't put anything out there that will leach into the ground. So, you know, that stuff has to stay inside.
Are you talking about the Walmart as it exists right now while they're
Right,
still under
we're- Yeah,
construction?
they've lost all of that space.
But
But
I
I know in Concord, they give you a cease and desist and say, nay. They didn't come into us and say, listen, we're gonna go into a construction phase and we're gonna lose this much parking for 6 months.
Well, I think that was just expected. It's
I
not
do
in
too,
our
I was gonna
zoning.
say, I don't think
I mean, they're
anything
getting it back now
requires
as they're
that they
moving
do
stuff
that.
out, they're getting
Yeah.
it back.
And
Correct,
they're
but
moving, yeah.
They are losing some
said I
spaces because
know
the planning
Concord
board
zoning
asked for
consistently
that.
gives cease and desist for businesses that are
Right.
losing any parking because of storage outside, that
Right.
type of thing. So I was just curious how
Yeah,
ours.
I don't know,
I don't think there's anything in ours that,
yeah.
No,
that
not
they-
that
Even
would
phases.
stop
and I
that.
think it would be more detrimental to a town the size of Tilton to
Yeah.
lose that much industry than it would to,
Right. Well,
in
I
any
mean,
goodwill.
I think we all expected it,
That's my
and
opinion.
actually, I thought they handled it fairly well.
Oh, no, not that they didn't do it well, I'm just,
Yeah.
I was curious how our
I
zoning
mean, it was a
works.
pain the way they roped off their parking lot so that cars couldn't get in certain areas, but yet it was for our own safety, you know, you had to
Right.
go around the other way, and it was a,
Well, let's go back to the signage.
yes,
Oh, you.
No, sorry.
go ahead.
Well,
All right, so anyway, as far as the sign, we can certainly change it if that's what you want to do, to where if a business leaves town or closes its doors, that they have X number of days to remove the sign. I believe there's something very much like that now. I'm looking.
The sign and the frame.
Well, that would be the thing, is you're just going to change it.
Sign and all goodness.
I'm looking at the old one now. Any business which is closed other than for seasonal purposes shall remove all signage associated with the business within 90
What
days.
section is that?
This is the old the old signs. This was before this one that we have now. All right, so now in what we have now, what is current?
Got the old. I don't know. You're welcome to take a peek if you wish.
All right, design, construction, and maintenance.
What did we decide is the
Status?
story with all these banner signs downtown?
I thought they were supposed to come down.
That's, I'm asking, I don't know. I remember we talked about it and talked about it, but I don't know about the,
I went down and watched the parade, the Christmas parade on
Yep.
Christmas Eve. And in the middle of the parade, the wind was blowing like I don't know what. I watched a merchant go and put 2 more up.
Yeah.
does Al have temporary permits on those, or what's going on with those?
I don't know. I don't know, I'd have to look at each one. On the banners, I don't know if he's got, I don't know.
Because I thought banners were against our ordinance, so I don't know how we could give a temporary on something that we're
Right.
not
You'll have
supposed
to
to have.
I'll have to ask Al. I don't
Because
know.
another one went up this week, so it's like, oh,
What
really?
banner went up this week?
The taco one went up this week.
Well, that's the one that went up during the parade.
Tacos?
Mhm.
Oh,
On the
the,
end, right on the end of the
yeah,
building. So
the
I'm just
Who's
curious.
Tilton Marco, Tilton Eli's,
Eli.
Eli's Attic doing tacos.
David
Oh.
Townsend.
Well, they're doing it in the building.
In his place, yeah.
So it's tacos and like tall clothes or something?
Tacos
Try
and
there.
tacos.
He's trying,
One-stop shopping.
But
they say the
whatever-
tacos are very good, I have tried them.
He's got tacos. He's got a restaurant part there.
It's,
But he's also got an area where crafters can come, like
Yeah,
a
that's
on the
farmer's
other side.
market type thing.
I saw that, but I wasn't sure if
That's what it is.
that's what it is.
I think the concept's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, and anything, I mean, if it allows people to try to make a living, you know, you don't wanna prohibit people from making a living, but the signage is getting out of control, that,
I mean,
the
that's-
whole-
Al went and told him he had to take his sign down.
well, and
but he
it's
puts
the
it up, but
jewelry
they-
one or whatever is hitting vehicles, cause it's leaning into
Hold on.
No.
traffic.
One of these had a height requirement on the signs, you know?
Yeah, ours has a height requirement too. Oh, for the downtown? Yes, I like that. You had read that.
And
I
it's
like
printed
that.
now.
Isn't there something in our current zoning that says
So
that
did-
if you close the business, they have to take the sign down?
I've not seen that, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
I haven't either.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I don't recall
I know it was
seeing
in our old one.
that. No, well,
Because that was my big argument about one of the,
Yeah.
Well, let's take
People,
for
it's not
instance,
a
let's
bad
just take for instance, I can't, down by the school, that old store.
Down by the
D-Roy's.
school?
D-Roy's. I don't wanna say Buttons, but that's what it
Yeah.
was. It hasn't been there, but they have a sign there. They obviously hasn't been in business in there for 30 days.
There's
They
business
should
in
need to
there.
start
but there's
over.
one going in there now.
I know that, but
they never took the old sign. Or that insurance company next to Citgo, there was an insurance and then the graphics. That roof sign has stayed up there,
And that shouldn't have gone up in the first place, cause it's a
Right.
roof sign.
yeah. But it went into the frame that already existed, that's why I said I think they should take the frame
Yeah.
and the sign down.
And they're looking to put a barber shop in there. The people he's selling it to, hopefully, well, he's thinking of selling it. There's a purchase and sale to sell it to somebody for a barber shop. The barber
You
shop guy,
mentioned coming in for site plan?
I did, but you know, the other guy that's going downtown didn't site plan, so, I don't know. But anyway, because he's
It's a
only gonna
change-
have one
definite
chair.
change of
The
use
change
down
of
there.
business.
It's gonna be a change of use, yeah. So I told him he's got the paperwork. He wants to put up you know, the old barber sign,
Yeah,
barber pole.
yeah.
I'm
Can't be
like,
active, can't be moving.
that's what we kinda told him.
I don't see anything in this one.
So Al, has Al given a cease and desist to the banner people, to your knowledge?
To what? I
All
don't
the
know.
banners down here in town?
I don't know. I don't know what, I don't know
Oh,
where his
can't
folder
find
is. I know he has a folder of all the cease and desist, but I'm not sure where he's got it on his desk. He's supposed to be giving it to me for these meetings, but
I asked about it, and I was told that they had been notified.
Yeah, but notified and a cease and desist are two different animals.
Well, I know, but I don't even know whether they were notified.
I don't know. I don't have anything to do with that.
Right.
You know, that's
No,
all,
we know
that's
that.
all Al's.
No, we're not pinning you.
Yeah.
We're curious. It's
You know, some of them
difficult.
I know about, some I don't, you know.
Maybe we'll go to the next topic.
I know he tried to do a cease and desist on the person near you that's having the yard sale.
There we go.
He had it hand delivered
Did you
today
find
because
it?
the person refused to pick up the certified
No,
letter.
that's different. Sorry.
Wait a minute. They delivered a cease and desist as certified mail to those people?
He sent out a certified.
Right.
It was refused at the post office, it was not done, and so then he took it out and he's had it hand delivered to them.
Then why are some hand delivered first and some certified
I
mail
don't-
delivered first?
You'll have to ask him.
No, we have to ask the selectman that.
I mean, he does some, or, I don't know,
Yeah.
but that one, he tried to have it,
Yeah, that's a definite question for the selectman on, I'll ask to be at the selectmen's meeting on Thursday.
Yeah.
Chapter 23,
I can't find anything in our current zoning that says you have to take the sign down.
No, I have never seen it,
I haven't either. I've heard you say it,
but it's not,
but I've never seen it.
in the current, no?
I like the old, what we did have for signage. All it needed was a little bit added to it, like on the moving, but even this one, because it's pretty simple, but it does go on to say, off-premise signages are not permitted, no advertising of off-premise businesses. Roof signs are prohibited. No sign shall be erected or placed within a traffic median or right-of-way or public sidewalk. All signs and sign structures shall be properly maintained as to not become a public hazard or become a detriment to the street environment. I would consider those feather things.
I would too.
Signs which have animated, blinking, flashing, or fluttering lights or other illuminating devices which are changing light intensity, brightness, or colors are prohibited. This is the old one now. Any business which is closed other than for seasonal purposes shall remove all signage associated with the business within 90 days. Now, that pretty much sums it all up right there. I mean, now, and then it does go on to say additional signage where needed, where you could get 10% of the square footage of your facade. And portable signs will be placed by permit only. So in other words, if you have one of those portable things, you can get a temporary, what they call a permit. And, or you can get portable or temporary signage displays after 03 in excess of what is specifically allowed by the ordinance will require a special permit to be issued by the land use office. Special permits will be issued for not more than one 90-day period per year with fees set up by the Board of Selectmen. Failure to obtain a permit will constitute a violation of the zoning ordinance. We did that for those times, when people might either like brand new business that wants to do extra advertising, or if you were, say, having a big sale of some kind where a business would want to, and 90 days, you can use it 20 days here or 10 days here, follow your sales throughout the year and get your 90 days. But, so we were trying to allow for additional signage for when they wanted to have special events.
Well,
And then-
sandwich boards to me are far less intrusive than those flag things that swing and in your face, and I mean, those to me are,
dangerous.
first of all, they look tacky.
Well, the old zoning for downtown, there was no freestanding signs were allowed.
Well, what's the definition of portable sign? Is portable sign a sandwich board? Is portable sign the arrow boards? What is the actual definition of a portable sign?
Well, I can tell you maybe in the new one.
Is a flag a sign?
Is the flag a sign? Here,
Oh,
let
wait a
me,
minute, we had that conversation last month.
I think we have definitions, there's quite a few definitions for signage.
Yeah, we did have that defined.
Okay, flags.
I hate when you see something like
Signage allowed. It's
It's in
not
the
the
new one,
old
that's
one.
not in the old one.
The only thing in the old one that was addressed was flag, oh, this is for flag poles for flying, federal, state, military, or local flags are permitted up to the maximum structure height as depicted by the table of dimensional values. Flag poles for flying commercial flags are limited by the signage size and height requirements regulations for each respective zoning district. So in other words, if you were in the commercial district, you can go up 15 feet, and if you're, depending on where you're at, it can be 40 square foot. But if you have all your signage on your flag, then that doesn't leave you any of the signage. You know, if it's a 40 square foot, unless you go to the ZBA.
Here's a part of a sign. Signs hanging over a sidewalk right of way shall not hang lower than 8 feet
I like that.
and shall be safely attached to the building.
Is that in the stuff you gave us,
Yeah, this is in the town of Lancaster.
Lancaster?
Yeah, it's page 9, it was a link that I had sent
Yeah.
on the original.
Now,
And no sign shall overhang the street right of way. There was another one though that said it had to be at a 45-degree angle and it couldn't be more than 7.5, lower than 7.5 feet. I don't think the average person can reach
Right.
8 feet. But if you take a flag and the lowest corner couldn't be, I think, lower than 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
But the difficulty with all of these is, honestly, how's Al gonna enforce this? He's already running 27 ways to Sunday. He doesn't have time to grab a tape measure and go, this one's 6.5, this one's 7 feet. I mean, you know, how do we do this?
It just amazes me that the businesses are willing to do this, because it would seem like there's potential lawsuits waiting to happen.
Absolutely.
If
a
you're
couple of
walking
those.
down the street and it's windy like it was the other day, and the corner of that flag comes and hits you in the eye.
Well, that one, it'll hit a vehicle sitting there, it'll take the
Yeah.
paint off a vehicle.
Yeah.
I was up in Kennebunk last weekend. They were having their Christmas thing. There was no banners, I mean, all the stores were doing something because it was the Christmas prelude, but there was no banners, no nothing outside saying anything.
You
More
don't find that
Dennis
in Conway, any of the communities that have chosen
To be more elite.
have what about Dennis filling those holes with cement
The flagpoles?
The
Yeah.
old flagpoles, yeah.
over the weekend?
I don't know that he could do it now, it's been so cold.
No, I know, but
But maybe that'd be a project for
Yeah.
next spring. Then they
Yeah.
can't put them out there.
Well, it's town property there.
I know,
Yes.
town sidewalks.
Actually, that's on the state right of way, isn't it?
Well, it's
I
what
know,
he-
I think the sidewalks belong to the town, right?
Yes, they do.
now why would a business want both an open sign and a flashing open light?
I don't know.
We have that all up and down the
I
street.
know.
we drive down at night, you can't see it, can't tell if they're open.
Well, but they leave them on all
Unless
night.
they leave them out all night.
They won't pay the
Maybe
light.
that's the kind of business Sandy's been working on.
Here,
This book here is a planner's dictionary,
Yeah.
and it's got all kinds of definitions of signs and banners and temporary banners and bench signs and you name it. It's got everything.
what is this maintenance and conformance of signs? No sign shall be erected or altered except in conformity with the provisions herein. The sign must be kept clean, neatly painted, and free from all hazards such as, but not limited to, faulty wiring, loose fastenings, and must be maintained at all times in such safe conditions so as not to be detrimental to the public health or safety, or detrimental to physical appearance or scenic or natural beauty of the
Right.
community, or constitute a distraction or obstruction that may contribute to traffic accidents.
Which that absolutely is.
Yep.
I mean, we've got to make it so that our downtown people can advertise and make money, but in a
Right,
manner that
in a
is,
safe way,
yeah.
Tastefully done,
yes.
too. I mean,
Because, I mean, really, when you walk down Main Street now, it's getting more and
It
more,
looks like a big secondhand shop, it's sad.
it's cluttered.
yeah.
You know, and it's just like when I'm driving down Route 3 past the whole exit 20 area, mostly I don't see any of the signs when I go down. I'm too busy watching the cars in front of me.
Well, that's what happens downtown, you don't want to hit the guy in front of
Right.
you, because they're,
Right,
What about this? No sign except traditional barber poles for licensed barber shops. Shall
Well-
have visible moving parts, blinking, moving, or glaring illumination, or any part consisting of banners, pennants, ribbons, streamers, spinners, or other similar devices. This regulation does not prohibit a wall name sign consisting solely of a rectangular banner made of a flexible cloth type material attached to off corners or
what town is that from?
Freeport, Maine.
So would that, how would that affect the, car place there, that has the, crazy.
They shouldn't have that
well,
anyway,
the
that's
crazy
against
thing
our
shouldn't be
ordinances.
there.
It's against it.
That should
Oh.
not have been there.
It's conveniently only on the weekends.
Yeah.
When our code enforcement guys know.
Also keep in mind that our code enforcement officer is also.
all right, guys, we gotta make up our mind what we're gonna do because we're running out of time.
I think the more simple
I
we
think we
keep
gotta go-
it, the better.
Yeah, but we gotta go do this some more.
And we have to, I agree with that.
Yeah, well, we have to
Well-
have a public hearing in January, we're running
Yeah,
out of
we have
time.
to have a public hearing in January, so what if you come up with like a draft of what you wanna see, and we send them to each other?
Oh, that might be better, instead of waiting until the next meeting, so.
Yeah.
So,
We
Yeah,
send
that's a
them
good
to each
idea.
other, and when we all agree on something, at least then, when we have our next meeting, it's ready for us to,
Well, the
work
next
on-
meeting will have to be the public hearing. The next meeting in January is the
I still,
public hearing.
I think we need to change signs over the sidewalk. I think that has to be
okay?
addressed.
Well, the one
That
that
seems to
you,
be a big issue,
The signs on the sidewalk?
over the sidewalk.
Covering
Yeah, those
any of the
flutter
sidewalk?
banner things.
Well,
Flutter-
they
oh,
put
yes.
those,
Yeah.
what are they called, feather signs
Yeah.
on Main Street here. And they
It looks like
flap
a
over.
circus, a
Well,
midway.
the
It
sign,
does, yeah.
and also walking down Main Street on windy day, you know, someone sticks the open sign here, let's require them to put it at least 7.5 feet off the ground, 8 feet off the ground, so the lowest corner is no lower than 6 feet off the ground.
okay, lowest corner.
The issue
And I
there
don't get
may
the
be
exact
that
verbiage
people
on
are too
that.
short to put it up.
I'll use a step ladder.
I mean, how
And how
how
do
can
you
you
use
put
a
that up
step
every
ladder?
day?
Here you go.
And
What?
take it in every night, you know?
Pardon?
How would you
Bottom
put it
of
up
the
and
sign
take it
shall
in
not
every
take below
night, you
7
know?
feet above
That's-
street level.
Bring out a
The
step
top of the
stool.
highest sign shall not exceed 11 feet above street level.
So at 7 feet above street level.
Yeah.
Wow.
The bottom corner. It has to be
Yeah.
hung at a 45-degree angle.
Oh, the flag does?
Yeah, the flag has to be
Yeah.
hung at a 45-degree angle
Right.
in
the
such a
bottom
way that the
corner
bottom corner
is
does not,
6.5 feet off the ground.
or 7.5 feet off the ground, or 6.5 feet if you want to do that. I mean,
Well, we can use 6.5 or 7.
for the bottom corner,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, the majority of our people walking down the street are not going to be taller than 6.5 feet tall.
right,
I can only think of 2 people I've seen in town Tilton ever that tall, so.
right. But even
Step
it's,
lightly, Pam.
well, like my son is 6'6", so the top of his head, so if it's down at 6, it might brush on the top of his head, but it's not
But
gonna
for
hit him
the-
in the face.
Average individual.
Right, but the average individual, it's gonna swing right over the top of their heads.
And
But
then
I
you've got
mean-
you got the business downtown that has their open sign on a telephone pole, and that's illegal.
That's illegal. That's, public service has got a thing about. And
What's-
our,
Sorry, what business is that?
the diner,
Oh,
the,
Oh, Paul's, Dinah.
let me see. Because even our current one says, 1.5. That there, you can't put them on the poles. I'm just looking for it.
Well, that's PSNH's law, not ours, or ordinance.
No, but I mean, it was right in our zoning that.
A projecting sign, an outdoor sign which is attached to a wall at an angle. Projecting signs must clear the ground by at least 8 feet and contain advertisements bring more to activities or businesses.
Isn't downtown signs supposed to be coming out of the building? You know, like the building's
Yes.
supposed to be coming out like this,
That would
perpendicular.
look
They
nice,
could
but I
be-
don't think it's in our zoning. They're allowed facade
perpendicular.
signs.
That perpendicular, I think, are in there. I think it is.
Yes, well, in our old one, it said, because I know, we fixed that to where they could either be flat or perpendicular for the downtown.
And the perpendicular looks so nice.
Yes,
It's tasteful.
That's what I took a bunch of pictures.
And that's
of
what I don't
mine.
understand, he has a
Lives
nice
in Bermuda.
perpendicular one hanging there.
yeah,
David Townsend does.
They just,
But
it's
you
just,
can't see it because of all the feather banners.
And the junk
Right.
around it. But I understand they think that the more signage, the more people will flock to their building, but
But
that's
that's
not,
not true.
that's not how advertising goes.
it's really, the main street, if you drive down through it and look around, it's not
It's really
appealing to
getting junk-
stop and look at
No.
anything. It's
No,
not.
there's nothing there that makes you go, oh my gosh, I've got to.
Yeah,
Here we
it's a
Sorry,
unique,
I finally found it. I don't know why it's in here. It's just not on this page. Or it's missing a page, that's why. Flags that project over a sidewalk must be at least 6.5 feet above the sidewalk at its lowest hanging point and at a 45-degree angle or greater angle.
now what is that in, so I can
That's-
circle it?
It's in chapter 23.
23,
Yeah, I think it's missing from our thing. It's page 10, and we go from, at least my copy goes from 9 through
Which
11.
one is this? This is-
oh, I'm missing
This is
from,
report me. I will, here, let's just,
That's the one you sent us a link to.
yeah, oh no, this is a PDF, I'll show you, I'll save it. I'll just save it, I'll send it to
23? I've got 24 here.
yeah,
you. And it's chapter 23.
of what town?
Report
What's
me.
the page
Report.
number?
Yeah. I just-
Okay, 23, what page?
It's page 10, which are, you may not have it, at least in my copy that was printed out, I have 9 and then I go 11.
Oh, yeah, there is no 10.
So,
Can you send, oh no, you, never mind,
I'll send it to Gus right now.
okay. And then Gus can send it out to all of us,
Yeah.
or you can send it to us too.
Actually, you can send it to all of them.
Yeah.
Page 10,
Since he's
Oh,
already
okay.
online.
Huh?
page 10,
Since he's already online.
Yeah.
let's just see. All right, so hold on. Sandy, Jean, Judy.
But I really think on the downtown, we ought to go back to absolutely no, nothing on the ground, facade only. So anyway, I think if we all take and modify and put in what you want to see, and then we start sending them back and forth, so that we can all tweak them, so that by the time we come to our next, the meeting, we have,
We have to have it.
Consensus.
I have to have it before I publish it
Yeah.
in a form, so if anybody
Right.
wants to come in,
when do
they
you
can
have to
look at
put
it.
the ad in the paper, do you know?
Yeah, well, it closes on the 27th of December, so it'd have to go in probably that,
Next week?
the 27th of
Yeah,
December.
Christmas Eve.
It's probably gonna have to go in early because of New Year's. I think I have to get it in that Friday.
Try to get in next week.
Okay, so we need to get it in next week, get it to her.
I'd have to have it in by Friday, I'd have to put it in by noon on Friday
Try to get it
because
by
of the New Year's
This
holiday.
Friday?
The 27th,
The
December
27th.
27th.
Okay, so if we use this weekend to come up with our own, what we wanna see.
Which
Send it
paper
around.
do we publicize that in?
Well, I usually go doing the Daily Sun. Yeah. No,
Echo?
yeah, go. daily sign.
Because around the holidays, they change their deadline dates.
Right,
because of-
usually when I do it on the Echo, I have until noon on Monday. But because of the holiday, I
I'd
have
like
to
to
have
say we should
it
get
by
it done
noon
the
on
20th,
Friday.
so we're gonna
Yeah,
cover
if we
ourselves.
have it done by the 20th,
This way, if there's an early deadline, if it's the
Yeah.
23rd,
Right,
the
we're
30th,
gonna run
I don't
into
know.
that with the
right,
holidays.
so the 20th
Thank
is,
you.
What's the date of our hearing? The 14th?
Oh,
The 14th of January.
So if anything, it would
oh,
go
I
in
have one.
You have
the paper on the 9th,
Hey, man,
at the
really?
late, you know?
A for effort.
It's gotta be 10 days,
Okay.
10 clear
So,
days.
but anyway, if we're gonna have this on the ballot, we gotta.
So will we come out in
Yes,
that paper on the,
So Eric just said if we have it done by the 20th,
yeah.
and we'll pass it back and forth until we're all happy with it. We all have each other's emails. We're all happy
Oh,
with it.
excuse me.
And that
You
way
could
we
just
can
walk
get
it
it
over
to
to Mr.
you.
Hazelman's house, 'cause-
Yep,
'cause he does not have it.
right.
She'll hook you up.
That's
That's
okay.
okay.
Just don't open it.
Actually, he does have dial-up.
As we were
Yeah,
saying.
do you have one of those ones we gotta plug it into the? No, just kidding.
Can you get off the phone? I need to go on
Yeah.
one.
No, I think if we try to get it by the 20th, that'll cover us.
Yeah,
no
in the
matter what
meantime, I'll take the other two, with the manufactured and the SOBs, and I'll take that down to Concord and discuss that with the attorneys down there. And so those will be set. So it'll just be the signage then, so we need to
Get on it.
get on it.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn then.
All right, I would like to second that one.
All those in favor?
Aye, aye, aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, you can give me your application. I'll give it to the selectmen if you still want to do this after the meeting.
Sure.
We don't always normally meet until 9 o'clock, just to let you know.
Right.
What do you call
We usually do it for an
And I
hour.
will make sure that they get it and they, now, I'll give it to Catherine,
Yeah.
I'll give it to
Either
Catherine tomorrow.
Or Joyce, either
or
one.
Joyce, and then the selectmen will have to review
We
it and then,
Yeah,
you
we
meet on
need-
Thursday
Yeah.
and then we'll let you know and you can come in and get sworn.
Okay, great, let me just make a change to
That might be the best thing that happened. Question, the laundromat. Put in a new sign, which looks wonderful, but they put in new lights and they're not downcast.
Well, then you'll have to walk over and tell them to downcast it.
So,
They're awfully nice people.
I don't care if they're nice. Our ordinance says downcast lighting.
I'm just saying they're awfully, I have to tell you.
And I have to say, the new sign is fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I went there, I usually wash comforters,
Mm-hmm,
well, actually duvet covers.
Right.
that were really heavy. And I don't have a front load machine, and they
Right.
just don't do well on the other side. Took them all down there, and I put my money in. And it wouldn't start. This is when they first opened up, and it wouldn't start. So I called the number that was on the board,
yeah.
and it come to find out it was the owner. He came in like I was trying to cheat him out of money. He was very young,
Yeah.
like I was trying to cheat his